It is 6 a.m. Good morning and happy Friday from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. In NFL news, the NFL has a ruling on former Baltimore Ravens kicker Justin Tucker for violating the league's personal conduct policy. The five-time All-Pro will be suspended for the first 10 weeks of the season without pay and can be reinstated on November 11th. The 35-year-old was released by the Ravens after 13 seasons back on May 5th in the aftermath of reports that he was accused of inappropriate misconduct by massage therapist. Tucker maintains his innocence, but he will accept the NFL's ruling. Last night, a couple Tennessee Vols got drafted in the NBA. Guard Chaz Lanier went to the Detroit Pistons with the seventh pick in the second round at 37th overall. And guard Jemai Mashak, he's staying in state as he was selected by the Memphis Grizzlies with the last pick of the draft at 59th overall. The Grizzlies also selected guard Javon Small out of West Virginia at 48th overall. The NHL draft gets underway tonight with the first round beginning at 6 p.m. Central Time and rounds 2 through 7 tomorrow starting at 11 a.m. Central in Los Angeles. The Nashville Predators, they hold 9 draft picks in this year's draft, including 3 in the first round tonight at number 5, 23, and 26. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Friday morning starts right now on 104.5 The Zone. This is Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee. We have a little saying on this show, on this station, to begin your Fridays, to begin your weekends. It's Friday, and we're going to act like it. 615-737-1045, how you jump in. 104.5 The Zone TV, how you stream us. Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. How many SEC football teams have legitimate college football playoff hopes? We'll answer that for you coming up in 20 minutes. Brent Hubbs joins us to talk Vols in hour 2 at 7:20. As always, we're talking about Will Levis and trade options. Are you interested in shipping away your former starting quarterback? Plus, Apple TV's Lori Lindsay talks Nashville SC, the hottest team in soccer, in hour 4 at 9:20 this morning. We've got the 11-year NFL veteran Ramon Foster, Justin Hawkins, our producer. I am Will Bowling on Friday, June the 27th. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Will. Nashville, good morning to everybody, man.
How we doing?
We're doing pretty good, man. Excited for this Friday, man. I don't know why, but it's Friday, Will. Like, hearing that, our intro right there, that song, I forget who sings it. Who sings?
Redbone.
Redbone. That is the perfect Friday start of your day song to me. Absolutely. So y'all,
Redbone gives you wings to start your morning under Bone and Will.
So does Scooters. You hear me?
That's right.
So does Scooters, man. I'm glad to throw that out there too, man. I showed you a picture a second ago. I got scrubbed up and ready to go on the table.
Oh, yes. Ron Slay is in the F&M Bank chat on YouTube.
Is he?
Wishing us a very early good morning. It's a big day for Ron Slay.
It is a big day.
We wish him all the best. We wish the doctors and surgeons all the best.
I'm nervous for him, okay? Just for a lot of different reasons. But I know he's in good hands because he got my sister-in-law, one of the best friends that I know in Nashville. One of the greatest people, I'll just say in general. His wife, Chris, with him this morning. I just text him, like, he says she's in there ready to start playing and stuff. He just texted me back, said, I ain't about to play with both of y'all this morning. Chris.
One of you pick.
Pick one. I told him, look, all I need for her to do, you remember when Michael Scott was trying to get his foot MRI'd on the office?
Yes. Michael Scott clamped his foot on a George Foreman grill, wrapped it in bubble wrap, and tried to put it in the MRI machine when Dwight was getting evaluated for a concussion.
Mike, nobody's supposed to be in the MRI room at all. No medals, there's rules to it, okay? You lay down, be still, and shut up, okay? Fall asleep if you have to. And Michael Scott tried to get his foot MRI'd for a burn on the Foreman grill. This is barely like first degree, barely from a Foreman grill. So I told him I need Chris his wife, to at least just try to sneak into the surgery room. Like, let her do one screw. Is all I'm saying.
One screw.
One screw.
It's crazy.
Will, trust me. Listen. That's just like when you build a house. You know how you inscribe your name in the concrete in the driveway, or some people put like plaques on the on the house. Built in.
Leave your mark.
Leave your mark, Chris, is all I'm saying. Look, he helped y'all had a child together. Now you got to give him something back. One screw to the knee. That's all I'm saying. That's all. You push a child out. Keisha and I if I have a surgery, she deserved to screw in one screw.
My goodness sakes.
You see, I'm not the one with the knife right now.
Boat is off and running. Starting hot. That's what when we say it's Friday, we're acting like this is exactly what we're talking about.
We absolutely have to act like
it's honestly shame on you for going after Slay in a way where you know he can't respond.
He can
on the F&M Bank chat, he can respond on YouTube. But normally, if Ramon says something so out of pocket about his brother, about our very good friend Ron Slay, he'll just call us. He'll just call you on it and say, hey, man, what the heck's wrong with you? But right now, he's a little preoccupied.
He's up against it. You also know why? Because he's supposed to start at 6 this morning. That's the doctor probably having his last sip of coffee, getting disinfected and stuff like that. But he's got another battle this morning. He's got to fight the anesthesia, okay? He can hop on that phone all he wants to with us.
Well, my voice is good at putting people to sleep. So typically,
that part too.
It's a very easy process. If he's got my voice on in the background, then he'll just be popped right out.
That's part of it too. I've tried to fight it. I might have made it to like 3 to 10. Like, that's it. 1, 2, 3, and I was out.
It's the best feeling in the world.
It is. The best sleep, though, that you don't even realize.
Exactly.
You don't even realize.
You feel like it lasts about 5 minutes, and you're up and at 'em again.
And you up and at 'em. I got my wisdom teeth pulled, and they put me under for that. You got your wisdom teeth pulled yet?
I did. While I was in college, day after Christmas.
I still got one. It was just like, it's no bother to you.
No,
it's not near going to affect anything, so I still got one.
Really?
I'm hoping in my older...
That's why you're so wise. You got that extra wisdom hanging around.
I hate you, okay? I know, Hawk. Boo this man. Boo this man. Also, I got one more thing for you, too, before we go further. You don't have to, but you're almost obligated because you're so Tennessee. You rep the state. You might not love every part, but you rep the state. You know where I'm headed.
Jemai Meshack, drafted by the Memphis Grizzlies. Last night, I've got a little bit of reason to like the Memphis Grizzlies. Congratulations to Jemai Meshack, to Chaz Lanier, who is headed to Detroit, to Zakai Ziegler, who is signing with the Detroit Pistons on a summer league contract that is going to play potentially with Chaz again for Detroit this summer and starting his pro basketball journey. That is so awesome for Jemai Meshack.
So dope.
So awesome. 59th overall pick. Great opportunity for him to start his career and be a role player, Ramon, of which it has value in the National Basketball Association, because Jemai Meshack is his ability to defend anybody on the floor in college basketball, essentially 1 through 5 in college, probably more like 1 through 3 in the professional ranks. He's got a chance to give himself a pretty good career based on just how elite he is at playing defense.
I'm talking about amazing for him, man. And it's funny you mentioned like the role player side of things, though, too, Will, because I'm trying to find the player's name, man, because I didn't follow them like that from Oklahoma Thunder, from the Thunder, who has been like celebrating big time. Like he had a ball at the parade and stuff. And it's funny, people are trying to clown him on social media because he played, I think, 13 minutes, 10 points or something like that in the finals. And I'm thinking to myself, this guy played a specific role still on that team. He also lasted towards the end of the year to win on this championship team of the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I just thought it was kind of crazy that people bash folks for being role players, especially in like the NBA. And all it is nothing, I wish I could say other words, but just bums of social media trolls that like to bash guys that are just on the team.
Or writers for Kentucky Sports Radio who bash Zakai Ziegler, saying he needs to move on and get a job.
Yeah.
Well, he got a job in the NBA.
He got a job. Man, I'm not even going to bash anybody in the media. But
no, I'll bash Kentucky Sports Radio. They're clowns.
And now you got to write about them even more.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. They won't hear this, but if they do, good morning. You're a clown.
It is by one of the silliest takes I've seen. You barely
KSR
played.
is ridiculous.
Man, Y'all so
Ridiculous.
sick.
It's a joke of an On3 affiliate, and I'm glad VolQuest is the one that we get to deal with and work with.
They pop up on my algorithm from time to time.
No, they're clowns. Total
It's weird. Absolutely weird.
They're
man.
good at getting attention from fans, but they're clowns of the way they do it.
But here's the thing with like Meshack and also Zakai specifically, those two dudes, like they are player type of players.
Yep.
What I mean is like you see them play, you're like, oh, that guy got some game to him. And I'm hoping for the summer league, you see that with Zakai where he make plays, you can't keep him off a roster. And the defense, like the defense that Jemima Meshack plays with, it's Dennis Rodman level. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
the guard
that.
position.
Yes, absolutely. He's a pest with it, man. So I was happy. I saw Rod Clark tweet out like my heart is filled. Like I don't know if there's anybody that love a person or a fan base as much as Jemima Meshack has like the heartbeat of that team he was on.
I will tell you too that being around that program a little bit last season in the game that I did and getting to talk with people around that team, there was a lot of buzz around Jemima Meshack becoming one of the more consistent shooters that Tennessee had over the offseason. Yeah. And you'll remember he had a finger injury. He had a very minor injury, maybe to the fan base and to people that weren't around the program, that he suffered against MTSU, the game right before Christmas, early last season.
Yeah.
That I think if it had happened in the offseason, there might have been more of a procedure to clean that up. He had to basically play with a finger injury the entire season and work around that. And it severely impacted his ability to take that next step as a shooter that he was really starting to take in the offseason. So I think there's something there with Jemima Meshack as a shooter as well, beyond just being a defensive guy. And what you love about him is the work ethic. And you love the way that he developed and put time in to improve his game personally over his entire tenure at Tennessee. You give Jemima Meshack something to work on, he's going to get better at it. And he's already elite enough at defense that if he can add some sort of offensive element to his game, he will stick around and make a lot of money playing basketball for a long time.
100%, man. Oh, I got the player from Oklahoma. He was a second-round pick out of Arkansas, Jalen Williams.
Yeah, right.
Yes. Played a role for that team throughout the course of the year. By the way, I think it's him that has a speech that all Titans fans should hear. 3HL played it, I feel like, the other day.
Segue.
Yes, it is. Listen to me. It is by far some of the best. I think Zelf may have saved it. We might have to hit Zelf up. But it is by far. It's basically like, this is why I asked that question the other day to somebody. I was like, how do you stay a fan to a bad team like the Browns or Jags and stuff like that? And hearing him speak of like never had won a Super Bowl. I mean, not a Super Bowl. He's never won a Super Bowl, but winning like an NBA championship and like, what does it mean to stay down till you come up? It was by far one of the best player speeches I've heard in my entire life. So I'll see if I can effort that and find it, man.
615-737-1045 is our number. How many SEC teams have legitimate college football playoff hopes in 2025? This week, we talked with Florida writer Mark Long, who covers them for the Associated Press. He's throwing Florida in that discussion as a team with playoff level expectations. We will revisit some of what he had to say, plus talk about the other teams that have playoff implications, playoff expectations, including the one in Knoxville. Here, coming up next. Friday morning on Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee, locally owned near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Ramon Foster, it is Friday, and we're acting like it on Twitter at Ramon and Will, where you can answer our question of the morning that we will get to later on here in hour one. What fan base annoys you the most? A little bit of hatred in a polite way, in a nice way, mostly. To start the morning,
Yeah.
we're going to get your Foster 5 on the craziest fan bases to play against or to just interact with from your perspective coming up later in the show. Wanted to see what the people thought as well this morning.
I'm here for that one too, man. I'm with you. There should be some toxicity and like fans going to games and stuff like that. But I think it was the Mets. Don't do that one though. Who's the no
Mets?
No, it was Arizona.
I don't care enough
Diamondbacks.
about the Mets to hate them.
It was the Diamondbacks that talked about their guy's mom.
It was a Diamondbacks fan, that it was
went too far.
I don't know if it's a Diamondbacks fan. It was a fan that said some stuff that has gotten him banned from all 30 MLB stadiums.
Boom, roasted
This
since
past
I'm not
week.
here Monday.
Yeah,
Take that
I
one.
don't know the specifics of it off the top of my head. So
Yes.
I don't think it was a Diamondbacks fan.
No, it wasn't. It was a Diamondbacks,
Diamondbacks
player.
player.
Yes, and I forget who the fan base was.
That's why I want to get the details on right before I say it into a microphone.
That guy's trash, is what I will tell you. Whoever he is.
Anyway, college football playoff expectations. We'll get back to that in a minute, talking about the fan bases that annoy you most. But we had a good conversation with Mark Long of the Associated Press this week, talking about the Florida Gators and the expectations in Gainesville for a program that has not met expectations yet under head coach Billy Napier. Here's Mark Long talking about just how high hopes are down in Gainesville.
High, actually. The highest they've been probably since maybe 2021. Certainly the highest they've been under Billy Napier. And, DJ Lagway's got everything to do with that. 4-game winning streak to end last season has a lot to do with it. And then they just see, there's some talent on both sides of the ball. There aren't many rosters. This is the crazy part. There aren't many rosters in the SEC that Florida fans would change with the Gators. I mean, there's just not. I mean, Alabama, Georgia, maybe. Texas, probably. But that's it. That's a really short list, and it just goes to show you that, where things are at with the Gators right now. I mean, people are talking about, forget the schedule. They're looking at this as, a potential playoff team and maybe even a dark horse national championship contender.
Mark Long of the Associated Press, our guest. So, Mark, starting with DJ Lagway, I know a lot of talk about his lack of throwing, the shoulder health, all of those things through this offseason. How much confidence is there around the program in his health and his availability moving forward through the summer into the fall? And where can he take the next step and go from potential that he showcased through that stretch run last season to maybe being a dark horse contender to be in New York as a Heisman Trophy candidate?
Yeah, a lot more confident now than they were 3 or 4 months ago. This was a guy who, had some shoulder pain, played through some pain last year, didn't really say much about it, which, shows a little bit about his, who he is playing through that. And then waited until really right before spring practice began to tell coaches that, hey, by the way, I'm hurting right now. So, from that standpoint, not ideal. They probably would have had shoulder surgery for him right after the season back in middle of December had they known that he was experienced this and they had, gone in and looked at it. But then when it's late March, early April, all of a sudden then they're like, surgery is not the best option right now from a season standpoint. So they're going to wait, and gave him some time off. It sounds like he recovered well and will be fine. But, nobody will really know until the season starts, really, maybe even fall camp when he's throwing every single day. But he's got, he's for a guy who got as much hype as he did last year and winning those 4 games down the stretch. I mean, his numbers were pretty pedestrian, 2,000 yards passing, 12 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Rushing was really he wasn't much of a dual threat at all. 100 yards rushing, no touchdowns. So this is a guy who looked like a freshman at times. He is not, he is the trigger man, but they're not going to be running the offense through DJ Lagway. That is just not Billy Napier's style. He wants to run the ball. He's got the majority of his offensive line back. He's got Jaden Baugh back, Jacoby Jackson, 2 running backs. He wants to be a run-first team that's able to do play action and take shots deep to what they feel like is their most talented receiver group in years, maybe even a decade or more. So that's who they want to be. We'll see, but I think they're going to take it slow with DJ Lagway and see where he's at when camp starts.
We're talking about Mark Long of the Associated Press, talking a little Florida Gators this morning. Mark, thanks for coming on with us, man, to talk a little off-season ball. With that being said, man, Florida's in a unique situation. One, being in the state of Florida because there's so much talent there. And it's also just competition, whether it be South Florida, Miami, the Gators, UCF, it doesn't matter. Where's Florida right now in the standings as far as popularity in that state? I mean, you got Thomas Costello out here right now saying that they're going to just body, not just they're going to body Alabama, but they're in the conversation of trying to kick up some noise and dust too, man. Where do the Gators sit now in that state?
Well, having lost to Miami last year, and getting blown out to Cam Ward and company at home early in the season, they sit behind Miami, right? You got to beat them to get ahead of them. But I would say that if you ask most Florida fans, they would think that they are back on top of the state, given Florida State's struggles and maybe where they think they are in terms of talent and continuity. Billy Napier, going into season 4, and, he's hitting it on the recruiting trail here and there, having some success. They got a lot of their team coming back from last year after that 4-game, mid that 4-game winning streak. So if you ask the average Florida fan, they'll say they're tops in the state. But I think if you step back and look at it, it's really hard to say Florida's ahead of Miami right now. But, Florida has a known commodity at quarterback with DJ Lagway, or at least what they think they know. And Miami's, flipping the page to Carson Beck. So you never know how that's going to turn out. But, it's perception and reality, right? Perception is Miami's the top, and Florida's got a chance very early in the season, Game 4, September 20th in Miami, to flip the script and say, hey, we're the big dogs in the Sunshine State.
What switch was flipped last year going after that Texas game or the Gators ended up playing 21 ranked LSU, and not just that, they go off also to knock off Ole Miss. What conversation was had as far as Napier and his squad goes? Because you don't just knock off 2 top 25 teams away like that with no type of changes being made.
Yeah, there's 2 ways to look at this one. That's a great question. It's fascinating, actually. 2 ways to look at it. If you're Florida and you're putting on the orange and blue sunglasses, you're probably going to say, hey, it's DJ Lagway. This guy probably should have beaten Georgia, had a chance. He goes in the starting lineup. They're going to look like they're going to handle Georgia, and then he goes down and they have to turn to their third-string quarterback, Aiden Warner. Couldn't get the job done, and they get beat by Georgia there. They go and play at Texas and get blown out without Lagway, who's dealing with a hamstring. And then they get Lagway back and they win 4 straight. So, the pro Gators, pro Lagway people will say, hey, it's DJ Lagway. But I think the neutral party, the observer, the 30,000-foot view would say they played 2 dysfunctional teams, really 4 dysfunctional teams down the stretch. LSU was a shell of itself by mid-November. They were falling apart. They were screaming at each other on the sidelines in that game. And then the following week, Ole Miss comes to town, and Ole Miss dropped 9 passes, maybe even 10, 9 or 10 passes, including 3 would-be touchdowns, and lost by a touchdown. Ole Miss probably should have won that game in Gainesville. I don't think a lot of people can look at that game and go, Florida routed Ole Miss. I mean, Ole Miss was a lot of it was self-induced. Same thing with LSU. And then they go to Florida State, the worst Florida State team we've seen in 50 years, and they went up there pretty handily. And then they play a Tulane team in the Gasparilla Bowl. It's, playing without its starting quarterback, who had jumped into the transfer portal. So all of those teams had some dysfunction going on, and Florida took advantage of them. And it does say a lot about Billy Napier and the staff that, that they've been able to, get this team rallying. They go 8-5 last year after that horrible start where they start 1-2, losing to Texas A&M and Miami at home in routes. And he really kept them on the right path, rallied the troops, and they played really well down the stretch. Didn't point fingers earlier in the season. They survived a quarterback injury, a quarterback change that probably may have helped the team a little bit. Mm-hmm. And they really rallied around Lagway. Now, the big question is, Napier didn't do a ton in the offseason, right? He kept his two deep is pretty much what it was last year, and they are really, really banking on the team that played those Final Four games, the team that won Final Four, their Final Four games, the team that has the longest winning streak in the SEC, by the way. They're banking on that team showing up week one and picking up where they left off.
So that is Mark Long of the Associated Press with us here on Ramona Will. You can hit the podcast feed to get that full conversation wherever you download podcasts, and subscribe to Ramona Will wherever you download podcasts. Ramona, I wanted to bring that back up because I think Mark makes some interesting points that the projectability of Florida football sets some really high expectations for them this season, regardless of who they beat to finish the year in that win streak. The fact is, the arrow is pointing up for Florida football at the end of 2024 versus the beginning. And there are a lot of teams that are in that same boat. Kind of wrapping a bow on the Florida side of it, though. How real should the expectations be for a program that brings back legitimate talent at wide receiver, has a big-time freshman who we talked about with Mark earlier this week as well at the wide receiver position, plus Lagway, who is going to be in the Heisman conversation?
I think they should temper it just a little bit, because here's the other side. DJ Lagway got a good bit of exposure last year, but the idea that he turns them into a national championship team in the first year with the schedule that they're up against too, that plays a part in it. The health of your team. Also, can a young freshman wide receiver be the guy that you want him to be early on? Can he handle the physicality of Alabama or the team, Georgia? Can he handle the physicality of Texas? Does he understand how to break down of what these teams are doing, especially a team like Georgia? DJ Lagway also, who they play NFL styles of defense. They attack you that way. They have the prospects to do it too. Like, winning in practice matters. I'm not going to diminish that at all, and how you feel good about your team. That gives you confidence to play the way that you should also. But when the rubber hits the road, Will, and they got to go to Texas A&M, they got to go to LSU, and I guarantee, it's already set. It's a night game. What does DJ Lagway look like in those points when it comes down to facing those guys? So I would temper it a little bit more. I think they have probably one of the worst times to have a good team and then SEC right now than anybody has. Like, if they had, I'll be honest with you, they had the Vol schedule with the team that they have a higher conversation. I mean, they have a better conversation and speaking about the national championship. But I would say temper for right now. Then they got teams that want some get back. Ole Miss is one of those teams, too.
Mm-hmm. You got to go to Oxford this year.
So it's a lot of newness for Florida as far as DJ Lagway being a starter, the transfer wide receivers that they have, and also just how they got to navigate this. And here's the other part, too. I was glad we had to revisit that conversation, because the other conversation we could have been having with Mark was, how's your new head coach doing? Because let's not act like Napier wasn't on the hot seat before he got it turned around in those couple of back-to-back wins.
I see what you mean.
That's what I meant. My bad. I should have cleared that up. But like that could have been the other conversation we were having. How's the new adjustment to the head coach? Like, Napier's still chasing those demons of last year, because I will say this. When the rumblings were happening around Coach Former, like, he killed him off in 2007. Like, they were still there when we started off pretty bad in 2007. And I don't feel like some of those boosters that are in those positions to get you out, they don't forget. So if he does have a bad moment, like, he's still chasing that demon of last year, trying to show that he's a good coach.
That seat can get hot quickly again.
It can.
Especially with expectations. And all of a sudden, a 7-5 season is no longer acceptable for Billy Napier in Florida when you enter the year saying, We feel like we have a legitimate playoff contending roster with Jaden Ball and Jacoby Jackson at running back, bringing in Dallas Wilson, the true freshman at wide receiver, who had nearly 200 yards in the spring game, who they feel like could be their version of Ryan Williams this year in Gainesville. Yeah. If DJ Lagway is a Heisman contender, the Dallas Wilson is a freshman All-American.
That's facts. I'll give you that.
Those two things are tied together. So it's going to be interesting. And Trey Wilson being healthy for a full season and Eugene Wilson being one of those key contributors of that offense. There is legitimate potential there with Florida. Ramon, here's the thing, though. Those improvements haven't happened in a vacuum. They are not the only SEC team that feels like it is stepping into playoff discussions in 2025. So I want to go down the list. Athlon Sports is starting to put out projected orders of finish in the SEC and in the ACC and in different conferences in 2025. So I've given you this list of 1 through 16, how Athlon Sports projects the SEC race to look like, and FanDuel Sportsbook playoff odds for each of those teams. Odds for them to make the college football playoff. There are some discrepancies here on where teams are ranked and what their odds are. So I'm going to go through one by one, Ramon. I want you to tell me if that team has playoff hopes or not.
Okay.
One by one. Starting with Texas. Does Texas have playoff hopes this year?
Easy.
Yes. Number one on Athlon Sports projected order of finish, minus 300 odds for Texas to make the college football playoff. Georgia, ranked second, minus 265. Yes.
I say yes because of history, but I question the quarterback. I question the quarterback.
As good as their defense will be, you can have questions about a lot of quarterbacks in this conference, but I mean, minus 265 to make the playoff. Georgia is making the college football playoff, barring some major disaster. I think we might have seen the floor of what Georgia is under Kirby Smart last year, and they were a couple games away from playing for a national championship. And they won the conference. Won the conference.
Yeah.
LSU, number 3, plus 138 odds, yes. Playoff team.
Playoff team.
Now, it doesn't mean they're guaranteed to make it. It just means
playoff team.
They have playoff aspirations.
Yeah.
Legitimate chance of making the playoff is all I'm asking.
Yeah.
Alabama, projected 4th, minus 150 to make the college football playoff again. A lot of these slam dunks at the top of the conference. They've got playoff hopes always in Tuscaloosa.
Those 4, yeah, absolutely. Sure.
So Florida is projected 5th in Athlon Sports' rankings. That is too high for me personally. And that has nothing to do with what I think of Florida as a team. Because if you were asking me to rank the top 5 teams in the SEC right now, I don't have an issue with putting Florida 5th. I do have an issue, though, putting Florida 5th based off of the schedule they are going to play this season in the SEC. They go to LSU on September the 13th under the lights. They host Texas. They go to A&M. They host Mississippi State. Georgia in Jacksonville, at Kentucky, at Ole Miss, home to Tennessee. I think Florida is more likely 7th or 8th best in SEC standings. However, you beat Florida State and Miami and you handle business against South Florida, that might be good enough to still get you in the college football playoff this year.
Yeah, style points. Real quick before you go further, I also look at like that matchup with A&M with Marcel Reese at quarterback.
A&M is sneaky.
Sneaky. That's all I just put out there.
Marcel Reed is one of the few returning starting quarterbacks in the SEC this year.
That's just as dynamic to me and with more playing time than DJ Lagway.
Right.
Yeah.
South Carolina, 6th at Athlon's rankings.
Quarterback.
They've got playoff hopes in Columbia. And they almost made it last year.
They got a demon out at defensive end, too. Yeah, I can live with South Carolina.
Plus 420, according to FanDuel Sportsbook. South Carolina, another one of those teams. Ole Miss, yep. Playoff contender.
Absolutely.
Texas A&M, yes. Plus 240 on FanDuel, projected 8th. Oklahoma is an interesting one because Oklahoma, according to FanDuel Sportsbook, is plus 520 to make the college football playoff. However, again, if you're telling me on paper to rank the SEC teams right now, they also have a shout to be in the top 5. With Jaden Ott, the running back coming over from Cal, with a lot of the additions they've made, they've totally reworked that offensive line. John Mateer, the new starting quarterback, getting paid a lot of money to be the starting quarterback. Ben Arbuckle, the new OC. But again, it's the schedule. It's not the prestige of the team. Florida and Oklahoma have the 2 toughest schedules in college football this year.
Good.
Oklahoma gets Michigan and Norman in week 2. before going to Temple. We'll skip Illinois State to start the season, respectfully to the Red Hawks. Auburn comes to town. Kent State. Then Red River is October 11th. Red River shootout, the way it should be known. At South Carolina versus Ole Miss. At Tennessee. At Alabama versus Missouri versus LSU.
That's a gauntlet.
It absolutely is.
And even, you know what sucks for them is the LSU game towards the end.
For my money, every single one of those SEC teams could make the playoff this year.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Every
there.
single one of them. All 8 that they play. Insane what they've got to go through in the second year of the SEC. Tennessee at 10 on this list, plus 250 to make the playoff. Tennessee absolutely has college football playoff hopes. Auburn at 11 to me does too.
Yeah.
Auburn with a really strong receiving core and a quarterback that's just got to step up. Jackson Arnold is one of the more intriguing starting quarterbacks in the whole conference because if Hugh Freeze gets that right, if Jackson Arnold lives up to some of the expectations, just some of the expectations he had when he was made the Elite 11 MVP in high school, Auburn could be a playoff team.
They could.
And then Missouri at 12. I think Missouri with Bo Pribula, the Penn State transfer, if things really go well for Missouri, they could sneak into the back of the college football playoff. I see, Ramon, at least 11 teams with legitimate CFP hopes this year in the SEC, plus maybe Missouri. But I'm willing to say 12 teams have legitimate playoff aspirations in 2025.
What's significant about Missouri's quarterback, too, they got him early in the portal window, too, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like, what's his last name?
Yeah, because he had Bo Pribula. He had to leave Penn State before the Penn State SMU playoff game.
So he's there. This is up Drinkwitz's alley, from my understanding, because if my memory serves me correctly, then he's also an athlete type. He can get outside the pocket and move. Yep. Yes, he can move. Yes. So he's had an entire offseason to get that offense for him.
And you know Eli Drinkwitz is always going to have a transfer running back. He's got another one this year, another good transfer running back to run the ball there. The only 4 teams to me that are not playoff contenders this season, Arkansas, Vandy, Kentucky, Mississippi State. I think everyone else in the conference, Ramon, could make the playoff this season. It is going to make for what I think is going to be carnage week in and week out on Saturdays all around the South this year.
Looking forward to it.
I genuinely cannot wait.
No, me either. And by that way, too, about Tennessee schedule versus Florida, those last 4 you said have no chance to make it. Those 4 Tennessee got to absolutely embarrass and not keep it that way because all 4 of those last 4 are on the Vol schedule, too.
Yep. That's right. 615-737-1045, our question of the morning. What is the fan base you just can't stand to interact with? Whether it's in person at a game, whether it's on social media, what's the fan base that is your least favorite? We'll get your thoughts on that next.
Is your concrete in need of repair? Maybe your sidewalk is shifting, your driveway is cracked and sinking, or your porch steps have moved. Shifting concrete can create a dangerous situation, just trip hazard around your home. It's also just a big eyesore. Ramon Faustin, whatever's going on with your concrete, call United Structural Systems. Ask them about their polyurethane foam injections. You've heard about USS for a long time. It's the same company that's provided superior foundation repair and waterproofing to Middle Tennessee since 1994. Well, they can also fix your sunken or settling concrete. USS uses polyurethane foam injections to lift and repair your sinking concrete in a matter of minutes. Lifted concrete can be walked on immediately or even driven on after 30 minutes. So don't go through that long, expensive process of ripping out and replacing concrete. Reach out to the company that I trust, man. You can go to USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com or call them 615-488-7855. United Structural Systems.
Hey, it's Will Bowling. Summer is heating up, and so are the career opportunities at Lee Company. Their team is hiring skilled tradespeople in HVAC, plumbing, electrical, sheet metal, and more. With 80-plus years in the business, Lee Company offers competitive pay, top-notch benefits, and free training to help you grow. Make your next move your best one yet with Lee Company. Apply today at leecompany.com/careers. careers. That's leecompany.com/careers. I love working with Lee Company because they are a part of our community, just like me and you. Over 80 years of experience, trusted since 1944 here in Middle Tennessee. Lee Company has 14 community locations here in Tennessee and also in Kentucky and Alabama. And odds are, if you're involved in the community, you see Lee Company out there in the community as well. Little League, high school sports, local events, you name it, Lee Company is there. So join the team at Lee Company by applying today at leecompany.com/careers. That's Lee Company, all you need. Right back at it on Ramon and Will, brewed by Scooter's Coffee. 615-737-1045. Scooter's Coffee is locally owned in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Ramon Foster and Will Bowling. What is the fan base you just hate to interact with? What fan base annoys you the most? That is our question of the morning. It is our Friday, and we're going to act like it. Comment. Spreading a little bit of hate in a respectful way in the sports world. It's not real hate, just sports hate.
Yeah.
This morning. Got Andy is first up. Worst fans to deal with. What's up, Andy?
The definition of insufferable in the dictionary, there's a picture of a Dallas Cowboys fan. I grew up a Redskins fan, so I have familiarity with this sports hate that we're talking about. I mean, it's been decades since they've won it all, but every year Dallas Cowboys fans are saying, we're going to win it all again this year. It's our year. And they have an owner who will pay just enough to get them excited, but they never do. Even worse for me, I had a college roommate when the last time they won it all who was a Dallas Cowboys fan. Now, it wasn't his fault. His parents named him Dallas, so that's why he was a fan of the Cowboys. He also had a brother named Denver who was a fan of the Broncos. I think they're just both lucky that their parents didn't name them Cleveland or even worse, Jacksonville.
Oh, thank you, Andy. Appreciate the call.
Jacksonville with an X, too.
Yeah. Here, come meet my buddy Jacksonville. Oh, look, it's my buddy Seattle.
This is my buddy.
And his brother Indianapolis.
Yeah, oh
That's
my
funny.
gosh.
Cowboys fans are a great pick.
This is my buddy Lexington.
Cowboys fans are a great pick for most annoying fan bases. You were mentioning it the other day, though. They were not close to loudest fan base, that's for sure.
They weren't, because I feel like it's so much of a tradition to go to their games, like the expectation of watching the boys. It never really shows up in a sense of just loud, just rock. It's like they'll get, I don't want to say personal, they'll get in your face as it pertains to like their sense of pride in it. But like the idea that they cheer loud, it's more of a spectacle and an event to go to more than it is I'm here crazy about my fans. Now, it may be some that call here and say, you don't know us. Well, I've seen it up close and personal.
Yeah, you played 11 years in the league. Yeah. You've got enough to
They travel well. Now, that's what they do. They travel well.
They just live in every city.
Well, is that part of it, too? Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of Cowboys fans still in Nashville because there are a lot of people that just growing up in the South.
Yeah.
Before Nashville had an NFL franchise, before the Titans were the Tennessee Titans. You pick the team of the South.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for a lot of people, that's the Dallas Cowboys.
To be honest, that was us. In my bedroom, we had a Deion Sanders primetime. I like Dallas Cowboys.
There's still a big contingent of Cowboys fans in Memphis for that reason. And people in Memphis who feel like, and I'm not even trying to insult anybody, this is just legitimately true, that feel like the Titans should have been a Memphis franchise versus a Nashville franchise back when the Titans did move to Nashville or when the Titans became the Titans in Nashville and the Oilers moved to Nashville. And I think there are a lot of people that just kept their Cowboys allegiances there because they don't feel like they, got a fair shake.
And that drive from Memphis to Dallas ain't a bad one either. So,
really?
you're right. Oh, no, it's not. It might be like 7 hours if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's not bad.
It was that short.
When we played in the Cotton Bowl, it was a bunch of West Tennessee guys on the team. They drove from Memphis to Dallas.
Interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ed in Nashville. Next up on Worst Fans. What's up, Ed?
Hey, how's it going?
Good morning.
So the worst, not to sound cliche, but it has to be Texans fans. So I'm in a group chat on Facebook where it's called AFC South Warzone. When I tell you Texans fans are in there every single day, just yapping and yapping. Oh, we won this many division titles, but it's like you never even appeared in the conference game. Then to have entitlement to, I guess, Titans history. That whole conversation just annoys the bleep out of me because it's like, But anyway, you get what I'm saying.
I hear it oozing through, Ed. I hear it oozing
Appreciate
through.
the call, Ed. Texans fans. I like it. All right, well, that's 2 votes for pro football in the state of Texas.
You know what's surprised, though, too? My wife was telling me, there's a SEC chat on Facebook, too. The people just do the same thing. She said Oklahoma fans were the worst. Like every other representation of a SEC team, like when Oklahoma came into the SEC, like they were by far the worst, loudest fans that you could deal with, like in those groups. And then they got a piece of humble pie.
Do you want to tease what you're going to – so we have your list coming up later in the show of top 5 craziest fan bases as a player and as a fan. Are there any honorable mentions that didn't make the list you want to mention this morning?
Dallas was in there. I did have them in there, but everybody names Dallas as some of the most unhinged fans. Cincinnati is definitely that type of fan base also.
Cincinnati would be in my top 5 of worst fan bases to deal with because they were as mean to us going to a Titans-Bengals game as fans as any fan base I've ever interacted with. And they were terrible at the time. That was coming off their 2-win season.
We went to it was a playoff game where Pac-Man ran into the tunnel. That game right there, like my uncles, brothers had to surround the women as they were walking out like Cincinnati fans were so
crazy,
bad.
Man.
They were that bad. Like my brother-in-laws in Kentucky almost left him because my brother's naturally a Steelers fan and they're Bengals fan. They were about to leave him because he was coming to see me after the game.
Wow.
Like hideous fans, okay?
They really
and those
were
are good dudes, I will say that.
I just had one experience of them, but they were, I went there for the Titans loss in 2020 as a fan.
Yeah.
That was the day after Halloween, November 1st, 2020, when the Titans lost that game to Burrow and Burrow's rookie season, and oh my gosh, not great.
Not great.
They're
in that conversation for me, and
I like hating sports. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't hurt my feelings, but they were not nice.
They were not
nice at all.
That's about it for me as far as like the ones I don't want to give away. Everybody else is sensible. You expect what you expect with most fan bases and stuff like that. But another one that don't deserve to make the list, but I just like their fans from time. And they're great people. The fans can be bad. Kentucky fans, when it get hot.
I was going to mention Kentucky.
Yeah. So great people, but fan base, whew.
As a Tennessee fan growing up and going to games, I've been to Rupp Arena a couple of times, and I have been to Kroger Field many times. The hatred for Kentucky fans who go to those games and hate Tennessee football fans is greater than basketball. I have a ton of respect for people who regularly go to Rupp Arena to watch Kentucky basketball games because they know the game of basketball really, really well.
Absolutely.
It is probably like going to Lambeau Field with Packers fans or like going to, honestly, Tuscaloosa. Like fans that go to Alabama football games at Bryant-Denny Stadium I have had no issues with.
Right.
I mean, you get the crazies every now and then walking around, but you expect that going to an SEC football game. Those blue blood programs where you're raised in generational winning tradition. You just grow up winning. Yeah. You're a little stuck up sometimes and expect too much, but Kentucky football fans have this hatred for Tennessee. And why wouldn't you? For most of my life, Kentucky, I think, has beaten Tennessee twice in my entire 27 and a half years on this earth. So I get why you do hate us. But going to Rupp Arena, I went with a buddy, and we had an exam the next morning. I failed it. But we were at Rupp for Tennessee's win in 2018, where they broke the streak from 2006. And this guy was sitting right behind us. And it was right at the end of the game after the Admiral Schofield breakaway dunk. And it was clear Tennessee was going to win. And we were high-fiving all this stuff. But we weren't loud because we knew, the situation we were in. This guy behind us is like, you guys students? Like, you make the trip? And we're like, yeah, we're juniors, made it down here. And the guy patted us on the back, was like, you guys are good fans. You deserve to see your team win.
Wow.
It's like, you know what? Fair enough.
That's all right.
Respect.
That's all right.
Respect. So the vibe you get as a road fan, at least as a Tennessee fan, going to a Kentucky basketball game and a football game could not be more different.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
And again, none of this hurts my feelings. Kentucky fans, I'm not getting after you because I don't want to be treated super well sometimes going to games.
No doubt. I got some great Kentucky
It's fun.
friends.
That's what sports are about. Like, we need more hate in sports and less jersey swapping after the game. It is not a bad thing whatsoever. So don't hear me criticizing fan bases when I say they hate on me as when I've gone as a fan for another team. Like, no, it's the way it should be. A little bit of trash talk back and forth is a good time.
I do get this. You brought up something that triggered me right there. I absolutely understand and get jersey swapping. Do it in the locker room.
It's gone a little bit too far.
Do it in the tunnels.
It's a little bit out of control.
Do it in the tunnels.
Little bit out of
Maybe
control.
I'm the weird one, the outcast one here, though, Will. But like, if I lose, though, I can't. I can't do it. If you my homeboy or you somebody I battle with, like, we gonna sit out there, we gonna talk and chop it up, man. Yeah, y'all got us. We gotta fix some stuff.
Right.
But you ball, man. How the family doing? I'm gonna do all of that.
Right.
But like, posing for pictures, signing a paragraph on your jersey,
It's too much. Too much.
send it.
There's two instances where I feel like that is warranted.
Okay, let me
if you
know.
went to high school with somebody you're playing against.
Love that.
Because that is about the photo op for your high school.
And your hometown.
That's the cool thing. And where I went to high school, guys that can swap jerseys, like Dawson Knox playing for the Bills, playing against Derek Barnett with the Texans.
Ramsey.
Or Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah.
Like, that's a cool opportunity to promote your high school program, and the admissions people at your school or the, coaches at your school. That's meaningful for them to be able to put up on their walls.
Yep.
The other thing is, if you played with someone in college for your entire college career, none of this like 1 year at college. Oh, that's my guy. Like, y'all spent 1 year together. It's not that deep. You could do that crap in the locker room. But if you spent 4 years with somebody, fair enough.
Roommates.
Yeah.
Yeah. With same class that you came.
100%.
All of that. Yeah.
100%.
Others, take them to the tunnel.
Yeah.
Like, take it to the tunnel is
I
where
agree.
I'm at. Like, I did 2 jersey exchanges, Arian and Malik Jackson.
So there you go. You played a lot of years with both those guys.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I mean, that roommate,
yeah.
Arian Foster.
That's
Like,
same class. I wasn't with
very
Malik,
fair.
but we battled like 2-3 times at that point. We were, and we had communication at that point, so it's
sure.
different.
for sure. 615-737-1045 is our number. Again, at Ramon and Will on Twitter, where you can write it and let us know what fan base annoys you the most. 7 a.m. hour coming up next. Greg Cosell dropping some interesting nuggets yesterday on 3HL about the wide receiver position, including one that I don't think fans are going to like. We'll do that next.
Upgrade her diamond ring this summer with no money down and 0 interest for 5 years. Don't miss this killer offer from Genesis Diamonds, where they're giving you 5 years, 0 interest finance until the year 2030. Not just on engagement rings, it's also on earrings, bracelets, bands, colored gemstone jewelry, and pre-owned Rolex watches, where you can buy now, pay nothing down, and spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest. So that $5,000 gift comes out to just about $85 a month, and that luxury pre-owned Rolex starts at only $150 a month. Yes, that much. This is an insane offer from a jeweler that is always finding ways to bring you more value. All GI certified diamonds are also included in this. They're rounds, princess cuts, ovals, pear shapes, cushion cuts, emerald cuts. Whether you get a $5,000 diamond or a $50,000 diamond, you can spread your payments over 5 whole years. The lab-grown diamonds are also included in this. So You get the Genesis value price on everything, where you pay $0 down, spread your payments over 5 years. But hurry, this is a limited time offer, and this ends June 30th and will not be extended. Genesis Diamonds are located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
It is 7:02. Good Friday morning from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. In NFL news yesterday, the NFL has a ruling on former Baltimore Ravens kicker Justin Tucker for violating the league's personal conduct policy. The five-time All-Pro will be suspended for the first 10 weeks of the season without pay and can be reinstated on November 11th. The 35-year-old was released back on May 5th by the Ravens after 13 seasons last month in the aftermath of reports that he was accused of inappropriate misconduct by massage therapists. Tucker maintains his innocence, but he will accept the NFL's ruling. A couple Tennessee Vols getting drafted in the NBA last night. Guard Chaz Lanier went to the Detroit Pistons with the 7th pick in the second round at 37th overall. And guard Jemai Meshack is staying in-state as he was selected by the Memphis Grizzlies with the last pick of the draft at 59th overall. And after going undrafted, point guard Zakai Ziegler signed with the Detroit Pistons to an undrafted free agent contract after the draft. it will be an NBA Summer League deal. The NHL Draft tonight gets underway with the first round at 6 p.m. Central Time, and rounds 2 through 7 is tomorrow starting at 11 a.m. Central in Los Angeles. The Nashville Predators hold 9 draft picks in this year's draft, including 3 in the first round tonight at number 5, 23, and 26. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Seven a.m. You are listening to Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee. Maybe you're watching Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee. Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Scooters Coffee is locally owned near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Brent Hubbs is amazing people. He'll join us coming up in 15 minutes here on the show. Still to come today, we talk about Will Levis and trade value. Catch up with Lori Lindsay of Apple TV, previewing Nashville SC and DC United. Coming up tomorrow, 615-737-1045 is the number. And Ramon, some nuggets yesterday from 3HL that I thought were worth bringing up this morning, that you also thought were worth bringing up this morning. Greg Cosell on 3HL Weekly, on the Install with Greg Cosell, wherever you download podcasts with Buck Rising, got a chance to spend a week at mandatory minicamp with Titans coaches. And he dropped a couple of nuggets yesterday I thought were interesting about wide receivers. First of all, about Bryce Oliver and the current role on this team that this guy already has.
You know, we started off talking wide receivers, and I think, and Brent mentioned this to start, I think the competition is going to be fascinating because, there's 3 guys who are definites. It's the 2 rookies, DK and Ayamanor and Ridley. They're definite. So now you're getting into who are the other receivers after that? Because you'd have to assume that Bryce Oliver makes the team because he, from what I understand, I'll be the first to admit I don't study special teams, but I'm told that he's a true core special teams player, maybe the best special teams player on the roster. So that's a 4th receiver. So now you get into Lockett, Van Jefferson, Restrepo. It's going to be really competitive to see who the receivers are after those main 3.
So that is Greg Cosell of NFL Films yesterday on 3HL. Right after that, talking more about the wide receiver position, this was Greg on Xavier Restrepo.
I don't think they would. The thing with Restrepo, and I liked his tape, but he's, I would say 99.9% a slot-only receiver. And that can be a little difficult in today's NFL, particularly when you have DK, the rookie, who can line up anywhere. That's what he did at Florida. He lined up outside. He lined up inside. You have Ridley, who theoretically can line up anywhere as well. They have a lot of guys that can line up both outside and inside because Jefferson can do that too. So if Restrepo is truly a slot only, which as I said, I really believe he is, he could be in a tough spot, even though he's really good at that.
There's Greg Cosell yesterday. Thoughts?
First one is hearing that Bryce Oliver is a core special teamer. Those guys are prime players, just so the fan base knows. Like, I know Cosell say he don't study special teams. Many don't unless something bad happened. Like, I don't blame him. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that, But hearing that Bryce Oliver is probably the best special team guy in the building says a lot about, one, I'll say this Bones Fossil and the plan that he has for this team, but also you got to figure out if also Bryce Oliver is going to get some of those game day reps too. Where does he fall into it? Because playing the special team role is cool, but you also need him to be a pass catcher. How are they going to end up incorporating him eventually into the offense unless this becomes a 3 tight end? A 3 wide receivers and the incorporation of the tight ends. You won't need them necessarily as much, but that really does cut down, I guess, in my personal opinion, the idea that Xavier Restrepo makes this 53-man roster outright. Like, Cosell said it, so I'm going to say it too. He's a niche player. Like, he's a specific guy. And that was always my contingency. And that's why I ended up asking somebody, is the 4.8 real. Apparently, every scout in the room at Miami had 4.8 or some similar.
4.8 40-yard dash that Xavier Restrepo ran at the Miami Pro Day.
Now, I'm a 5'5" guy running down on special teams in practice and stuff. Like, I eventually got there. But the NFL game, Will, is so fast. Like, you need to be able to have that straight line speed to go make those type of plays. And if you're only good in a short space, that's very problematic. But I will say this. I'm very excited for what Bryce Oliver can do, and hopefully he stays around long enough to where he can get wide receiver reps.
Yeah, I think with Restrepo, it's interesting because no one's ever disputed on offense he has one role. On special teams, he's got to add some kind of value. And John Fossil, Bones Fossil, your new special teams coach, feels like there is value there as a tackler, as a blocker, as potentially a returner. There's going to have to be something else Restrepo adds to this team. Because if you are a slot-only receiver, which is 100% the case, that no one's ever argued that, what else are you adding? At the very least, some of these other receivers that could make this team have something else that they can do. And if you are a backup in the NFL, you got to do two things. There are very few players, Ramon, who are put on an NFL roster to only contribute to one phase of a football game.
I got two guys. Center, quarterback.
Yep.
Center, quarter. That's it.
And kicker, punter would be the only other ones. But
those positions at football field. No.
Yeah, exactly. But unless you are a feature back or a starting quarterback or a center, you're playing something else on an NFL football field. And Xavier Restrepo just isn't the level of receiver to only play receiver. That's the thing.
And the league, for the most part, unless you're a comeback player of the year, they don't give out sympathy spots. Like, they don't do that because it's all about winning in this league. Well, and I just said this also for the undrafted guys specifically. You got to have something extra to what you just said in your toolbox, because where's your value? Why should we keep you around and not this 5th round draft pick or this 4th round draft pick? And it needs to be special teams. And sometimes it just sucks because you're born with what you're born with. His speed is his speed. His size is his size, although he's not a small guy. But when you're talking about 53 spots and 46 active on game day, there are so many other players that play multiple roles. Like, Jeff goes out on special teams. Jeff also plays fullback.
Right.
Like, these are the things you're asking somebody to do. I was an extra tight end before I ever took an offensive line snap. Like, I was on extra point and field goals. Like, those are the things you have to be able to do. And I hate to call them this, but before one-trick pony, like, there was a lot of people saying because of Cam, like, no, I left. It ain't going to make it about me. People leave friends behind all the time in the NFL.
Yeah, right.
Bro, I'm sorry, man. Like, I tell the story all the time. We took a trip to Niagara Falls as a group one time, me and another family, right? My family and another family. He got cut on that trip. You know what happens, Will? They drove back. We recently just talked the other day for the first time. Like, this happens. The league moves on, and college storylines are fine. But the NFL is all about value and how can you create more, and that's going to be a challenge for Xavier Restrepo.
It is. It absolutely is. You either have to be elite at one thing or you have to be good at a lot of things. And I don't see Xavier Restrepo, although good, being elite at being an NFL slot receiver as of today.
That's always college good. And I don't want to diminish him. What I will say is this.
He's still got a very good chance of making this roster. And we're not saying that he's got no shot.
He's going to have time. I heard Brent and Savage yesterday bring up, well, there's ways to keep him. Well, or it might have been Bird, I think. Well, let's say he has a broken fingernail or something. Like, you can hide him. And I think it was Buck that was just saying, well, here's the other side of it. Maybe he's already taken a pay cut to come to Nashville to be with Cam Ward. There's only so much chasing of a quarterback and a teammate that you can do. And I think Cam Ward's got some flex because he's the number 1 overall pick in the draft. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's got decision-making flex.
No, nor should
keep Restrepo around.
Nor should you. You got to earn that over time.
That is earned through wins.
100%.
And hardware, Will.
100%. If the Titans keep Restrepo on the roster, I still think it's going to be a challenge for him to be active on game days.
And do you want to waste that spot?
Right. Like, you are putting a guy on the active 53-man roster most likely because you don't feel like you can hide him on the practice squad or he's not going to clear waivers, and you want to be able to develop him over time.
Yeah.
That is why you would keep him. The same way you kept David Martin Robinson last year on the initial 53-man roster because you felt like he had done enough in the preseason to warrant somebody wanting him. And you stashed him, but he was never active on game days until really the end of the season.
No doubt. What Cosell is saying, too, is what we saw when Bryce Oliver got his opportunities last year. Streaky down the field. He's bigger than you think he is also. And I think I'll say this, though. We're talking about, like, endearing somebody. I do think Coach Brian Callahan has a soft spot for Bryce Oliver, too. Mm-hmm. But he's also, I think, worked his butt off and prepared himself for these types of moments. The reason I think we all brought this up and are being able to talk about this, too, is Buck revealed, too, that Greg Cosell also had full access to meetings.
Oh, yeah. He was everywhere.
Everything during minicamp.
On the sideline with the coaching staff and in meeting rooms and in the film room and all these things.
And it was fascinating because, like I said, when you're in those meetings, coaches are very candid, say a lot. There's a lot of information. Yeah, and I think what Cosell said yesterday is probably known inside the building. It's just that nobody, I don't think, has reported on, like, Bryce Oliver almost, when we did our roster prediction.
Yeah.
I don't know if Bryce made it.
We did not make him as a lock.
Because
he's not a lock. I still don't think he's a lock to make the roster.
He's the best special team. Cosell said he's heard that he's the best special team player in the building. He's a lock.
I'm still not saying lock yet. Still not saying lock yet. This team needs offensive production.
I go lock. Well, that is on kickoff return.
That's not offense. That's special teams.
On playing punt defense.
It's special teams, though. This team needs guys to catch the football.
Every blade of grass matters. And if he can be a gunner on punt and make a short tackle at the 10 instead of letting the guy get up to the 30.
Sure, but
hell yeah.
Making your quarterback have a successful rookie season is also paramount this year.
He's a lock. And the only reason I say that, the only reason I say this because I've seen teams covet that group of guys.
Yeah,
Tyler Matakevich, that Burt loves to death. He would probably call in right now if I mentioned Dirty Red. Well, he's continuously had jobs because of he's a special teams king. Darius Hayward-Bay, who had to transition to another role, continuously got jobs because he was a killer at gunner on punt.
Let's quickly go to the phones. Micah in Nolensville wants to chime in on worst fan bases this morning. Hey, Micah.
All right, the fan base for me, aside from our SEC rivals, but it might just be because of the Elite Eight loss and the Music City Bowl, but I hate Purdue. Purdue is such an annoying fan base. It's Purdue. I'm hating on them this morning. Purdue.
That's real.
Thank you, Micah.
That's real.
I will always be open for Purdue hate. Yeah. Absolutely. I'm with you. Their fans were kind of annoying, to be honest.
Yes, they are.
Somewhere Buck Rising just cheers us.
Just cheers, he did.
Scooby tweets at us, says, I can see a world where Lockett is not on the roster week one.
$4 million.
I don't see that world.
$4 million.
I know Buck talked about that the other day. I disagree with Buck. I don't think Tyler Lockett is Jamal Adams.
You're not cutting him.
Tyler Lockett's on the team if he's healthy. 100% chance.
Barring injury.
I mean, never say never. 100%. Few things are 100% in the NFL, but I would be shocked if Tyler Lockett doesn't make this team.
I can see that one happening. Yeah.
Coming up, Brent Hubbs of VolQuest joins us. The latest out of Knoxville. The recruiting continues for Josh Heupel and for Tony Vitello. We'll get the latest from Brent next.
It's Ramon Foster for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Good people, dealing with a plumbing, HVAC, or electric emergency, nobody wants to deal with it whatsoever, man. Most of the time, you don't know what it's going to cost or if it'll get fixed right, or if somebody's just trying to sell you something you do not need. When you call Hiller, their experts are going to solve your problems quickly. Speaking of their experts, man, they're techs who will come to your house and service it. They're very professional, experienced, and trustworthy. And also, I know this matters to some, but they're all background checked and also drug screened too, man. And when they're on the way to your home, you'll receive a photo of the tech that's coming to your house and a link to track them in real time, because Nobody wants to be sitting around waiting on them to service your house and for you to pay them just to be waiting for hours and hours and hours and hours. Absolutely not. Hill has also been in business for over 35 years and are family owned and operated too. Again, their motto is happy you'll be able to service is free, and they absolutely mean it. So to book with the company that I trust, man, visit happyhiller.com.
Ramona Will, fueled by Scooter's Coffee on 104.5 The Zone. When the country music plays on a Friday morning, that means you're about to get the best of the business covering Tennessee athletics. VolQuest's Brent Hubbs joining Ramon Foster and myself, Will Bowling. Brent, good morning. How are you?
And good morning, guys. How we doing?
We're good. Brent, I've got to tell on Ramon to start the show this morning, to start our conversation this morning.
This is the best part of my Friday right now. What has Ramon Foster done now?
I was happy to not get a text from you already yesterday because I was curious if you had heard just the shot across the bow at you from Ramon Foster yesterday. So we're doing this feature, Brent, this offseason called the Foster 5. We're having Ramon rank his top fives of just different things. And yesterday we had him rank the top 5 atmospheres that he played in college or the pros. So at the end of the conversation, I said, man, I can't wait to get Brent's take on this because I'm sure he's seen some amazing atmospheres covering Tennessee. And Ramon goes, well, yeah, you probably covered Tennessee in the Coliseum in Greece. And I said, first of all, that is downright disrespectful to our good friend Brent Hubbs. Secondly, the Coliseum is not in Greece, it's in Rome. Ramon, I just had to start our morning. We say on this show, Brent, it's Friday and we're acting like it. This is the way we're going to act like it this morning. And I just needed to tell on Ramon to start the day.
So let me say, Ramon called me really old and then had to locate at his GPS wrong.
Correct. It was off. Correct.
I mean, you couldn't even get MapQuest to work for you, okay? Couldn't read the globe, couldn't read an atlas, couldn't do anything. And in doing so, you tried to take a shot at me. Just because I covered your little recruitment coming out of high school, you could take a little shot at me because I'm suddenly old, right?
Yeah,
okay.
that was on me, Hubbs. It was wide open.
Duly noted, my friend. Duly noted.
That's exactly what I wanted.
It is.
All right, we can start now. Anyway.
I thought somebody had ran to you and told. I did for a minute, but nobody reported back, Hubbs.
Until now.
No, well, I've been on a little family staycation,
okay.
So we got out. I had to get out and drive a little bit this morning to find some cell service because I didn't want to clip out on you guys and then hear it from you, Ramon. So I've driven down the road here, and only to find out that you've been taking random shots at me when I'm not around.
Well, I tried to make it up to you, just so you know. My playlist is growing more and more. By the way, I am now, and I'm not trying to change the subject on you because I know I have to deal with this fall. I'm just letting you know before we move into like official stuff. Hank Williams Jr. is the man, okay? Hank is the man. Family tradition I can't get enough of. What is it? Hell Bent. What is it? Whiskey Bent and some. What's the other name of the song?
You got it.
You got it. You go. Keep going.
Yeah. Whiskey Bent and Hell something is what it was.
Here's my Hellbound, which is
Hellbound.
You're going to be on Friday nights when the play-by-play guy finds out. If you think I'm old, what's he?
See, look at Hub paying it forward right now. Hub bringing him down
just
to lift
preparation
you up.
for the fall.
It ain't a good group if we can't rag on each other, Hubs.
I love it.
You know that's the case. It'll always be that way.
All right. Well, Brent, in the war room this morning, VolQuest at On 3 again, VolQuest.com. We talk with Brent every Friday at 7:20. Tennessee on the recruiting trail, Brent, a week removed from having the number 1 running back on campus in Savion Hyder. We've talked a ton about this prospect with you and with Austin. What is the latest? How big of an impression now as the dust has kind of settled a little bit do you feel like Tennessee made?
I think a big impression. And again, I think one of the advantages, they had him in twice in a month's period of time. And, these guys are taking so many unofficial visits plus an official visit now. It's no longer about getting the tour. It's about spending time on the board, some X's and O's. It's about getting to know teammates or potential teammates. It's further developing the relationship. So when he got to Knoxville for his official visit, he didn't have to go do the uniform photo shoot if he didn't want to. He didn't have to go see anything else on campus. He could just spend time looking at the things he wanted to look at Tennessee. And he spent a lot of time with, potential teammates, other people in the class, but people that he's known through the recruiting circles the last year or so. So I think they made a really big impression with him. I think distance from home is a bit of a factor ultimately because he and his mom are really close. I think it still is Tennessee, Michigan. And I think his family and his mom are very hands-on involved in everything. I don't think this is going to be some third-party agent deal who's necessarily, deciding where he goes to school. I think they'll have some representation, help him through everything, obviously. But I do think this is very much a family decision, and I think Tennessee has done as well as they can do with him at this point. Is that enough? We'll find out. But I don't think they could have put another best foot forward, if you will. I do think they did as well as they could.
Brent, commitment day for Edward Baker, interior offensive lineman. He was in Oxford last weekend, someone who's been talking a lot with Tennessee as well. Not someone who is as highly ranked as maybe a Darius Gray on paper in terms of the star ranking and the ranking, but in terms of maybe a longer-term project, Brent, what does Tennessee like about Baker, and what are you guys hearing going into his announcement today?
I think Tennessee's in a good spot there. I do. I like where Tennessee's kind of been positioned since that official visit. I think he's a guy who will need a little bit more development, but I think they like the size that he brings to the table. I think they liked his personality on the visit a great deal. I think they like his mindset and kind of the way he plays. Got a little bit of an edge about him, a little nasty disposition, which you like, particularly on the inside of the offensive line. So I think that if Tennessee could land him today, I think that's a quality pickup. And, again, I like where Tennessee has positioned themselves at this point.
It seems like the Vols are taking the approach, man, of really pouring into some interior offensive line. I don't think I've seen a huge concentration of that particular position in a while. You bring up another guy also in your war room with Brandon Anderson also, and of course with Darius Gray being another one of those guys, man. Hyper focus on that, Hubs, over the next few years, it seems like, on development.
Well, I think that's a position that you're going to have some development at, and you're going to want, you're going to have to recruit to that position with the thought of maybe, they help in year 2 or something to that effect. Because here's the thing, Ramon. I mean, tackles are just going to cost money. Okay, I mean it's that way in the National Football League. It's that way in college football. You're going to have your investment into your tackles are going to be pretty significant, and so I think it's going to be harder to develop the tackle position because one, there's a greater need around college football for them with the transfer portal. So guys are always, flight risk, if you will. And two, if it's a really good guy, it's going to end up, you're going to have to financially take care of them. And so I think you're going to see teams carry smaller numbers of true tackles. They're going to carry more interior guys, but maybe interior guys who can bounce out. That's why Tennessee loves a guy like Jesse Perry. Because Jesse Perry could play center in a pinch. He could play guard, or he could be your right tackle. And much like we're seeing in baseball with their limited roster size, they're looking for guys who can play multiple positions. I think in the offensive line, you want guys who can play multiple spots. And true tackles are true tackles. There's not many tackles sliding inside playing guard. But if you can find a guard who's athletic enough to slide out to play right tackle, then you've created some depth for yourself. And that's what you're always looking to try to do.
Hubs, there is nothing better than a college football program weight room. I saw Jesse Perry this past weekend. Dude is big, okay? I just want to throw that out there. I don't know what he was when he came in, but that guy got some doggone size on him, Hubs.
Yeah, well, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, what you can't develop when you get to college, you can't make them taller because we don't have the Barney 5 stretch machines. You can look that one up for a moment later. That'll be one of your homework assignments.
I know that one.
You can make guys a bit faster, but nobody's going to go from a pretty fast guy to an elite fast guy, right? There's limitations in how much faster guys can get. There's not a limitation on how much bigger somebody can get. Yeah. And you look at David Sanders, right? David Sanders comes in 270 pounds in January. He's 305 right now. Okay? I mean, that's 35 pounds they put on a guy. You look at Deshaun Brain. He's put on almost 30 pounds as the tight end who came in January. You get these guys in the nutrition program. You get them in the weight room and the strength program. And you could add some size. And Jesse Perry's another one. You're exactly right. Coming out of that offense he played in there in the mid-state, figured all the offense out, but also adding the weight. I mean, Jesse joked back in the spring when he goes home, some people don't recognize him because it's like, wait a minute, what happened to you? Because he's put on 30-plus pounds since he's been at the University of Tennessee. Needed weight, but it's weight that's put him in a position to be able to help Tennessee this fall on the field.
He looks good. I just want to say that before going back to Will. Hey, he looks good, Hubs.
Brent, talking about Deshaun Bishop, and you guys writing about that in the war room, coming in at 215 now, and a guy that came to campus at 180. Have we discounted maybe the role Deshaun Bishop can still play on this offense? Because with all the talk about Star Thomas coming in and Peyton Lewis, who's got the speed and maybe is the flashier player overall that Tennessee fans maybe hope is the next Dylan Sampson type, where is Deshaun Bishop at in all of this, and how big of a role do you see him playing right now?
He's running back 1 or running back 1A with Peyton Lewis. I mean, here's the thing about Deshaun Bishop. 1, Deshaun Bishop's tough as nails.
Mm-hmm.
2, he's competitive, and he's never lost the chip on his shoulder. And I think, Ramon, you know this. You played this way. I mean, you were always out to prove. You know, you had to work to get there, and when you got there, somebody was the next guy coming in was always going to take your spot, right? I mean, that was just – and Deshaun knows that, you know, they're just continue to recruit high-profile players and, quote, recruit over him. And Deshaun's just not going away. I mean, every time, you know, he's kind of one of those guys that he's okay in drills and some of the one-on-one stuff, but the more people you put on the field, the more productive he becomes. And I think, I do think a lot of people are discounting him. Is he Dylan Sampson? No, absolutely not.
Right.
Is he Jalen Wright? Right? No, he's not, because he doesn't have the home run breakaway speed. But can he be a really productive player for Josh Heupel in this offense? Absolutely. He always falls forward. His pass protection's gotten so much better. They trust him in critical situations. I mean, he was on the field backed up against Oklahoma last year, coming off the goal line.
Mm-hmm.
And they were comfortable with him being there because Dylan Sampson had blown a pass protection in the previous drive. And so I do think that Darrell Sims has a ton of confidence in him. I think Deshaun has a ton of confidence in himself and physically looks really good right now. He is in a really good spot and is highly, highly motivated because he knows, you know, what they've done around him, and he likes those guys. He's not against them, but they're just not going to take his spot. I mean, he ain't conceding anything to anybody. And I think the question at running back is how deep of a rotation are they really going to go? Because last year it was kind of Dylan Sampson and they spot dutied some guys. You know, the year before with Jerry Mack, there was a very clear-cut two-man kind of rotation deal. He would sprinkle in a third. Are they going to rotate 2 guys or 3 guys at running back? Is it going to be Bishop and Peyton Lewis? You know, if so, then where does Star Thomas factor in? How do they manage all 3 of those guys? And then DeJuan Morris is sitting there with the breakaway home run speed. I mean, somebody probably not going to be happy in that room when we get to week 3 with the number of carries they're getting. But I'm going to bet Deshaun Bishop is in the heavy rotation at running back.
On the other side, too, back to recruiting, man, how are the Vols going to be able to balance up what some teams are saying to Joel Wide and what they want for him also? I see Coach Chop as his primary recruiter on this one, too. High 4-star guy, man, they project as an edge, but others want him at other positions. Have you spoken to him, and what do you think the ultimate plan would be for him to get to UT also?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's at Leo, to be honest with you. I mean, I think where Joel is at right now, he was at the Rivals 5-Star Camp Challenge and worked out at safety, and I think did well there. I just don't think he doesn't see himself moving that close to the line of scrimmage, and he wants an opportunity to play, I think, more in space in the back end, would like to play a safety spot. So, we'll see what happens with that one. I think that one's going to be interesting because, the more he does camp things and the more things he does, the more confident it feels like he is in being able to play away from the ball and playing off the ball a little bit more in space, which is where ultimately right now he really wants to play. So that one's going to be interesting, Ramon. We'll see what happens there with that over the course of the next few weeks.
So he wants to be a Kyle Hamilton type from Baltimore is what it seems.
Yeah, I mean, he wants to play, what's his body going to do ultimately, I think, is the question. When you get in the weight room and you get into nutrition stuff, I mean, Where's he physically going to be? I mean, is he going to be 240 pounds? I mean, you don't see a lot of college safeties at 240 pounds running around out there. So I think the question, people are projecting kind of what his body's going to do, and where he's at right now, he's not seeing the projection. He's seeing himself being a productive guy playing in the secondary, and that's what he's seeing right now. And maybe he stays there. Maybe body-wise he can stay there, and that's where he plays, or maybe he outgrows that spot. I don't know, and I'm not comparing him to Javon Curse, but Javon Curse thought he was going to be a safety for his entire football career. We saw how that worked out. He arrived at Florida as a safety, and then he put on 30 pounds. Yeah. So what is his? I don't know what Joel's body's going to do. I mean, I'm not. Right. I don't measure bone density and all those types of things that they measure these days. So I don't know if he's a guy that, some guys you project to play those positions and you look up and they fight for 5 pounds. Some guys, they look up and they put on 30 pounds without any difficulty. So I don't know, I don't get paid nearly enough money to make those kind of projections, but I think that's the interesting debate with Joel White right now. The thing about Joel White is he could play.
Yeah.
Okay. He can play football. He is a good football player. Whatever position he ultimately ends up playing, he's going to be a really productive player because the guy understands and knows how to play football. He's just one of those dudes. He's a football player, not an athlete. He's a football player.
Oh, Brent, we mentioned it off the top, but maybe not the Coliseum in Greece, like Ramon said. But when I ask about the favorite environments you've been able to see in the time you spent around Tennessee football, are there one or two that come to mind of the favorite places you've been outside of Knoxville seeing Tennessee play?
There's a lot more disappointments than there are exciting places.
Really?
That we've been to. Yeah. The Rose Bowl was a big bleh for me.
Interesting.
Pretty sunset, okay. Yard sale around the stadium, okay. All right.
I agree with that.
Oregon was an interesting place. The fascinating thing about this conference is the difference in some of these places, day versus night.
Yeah, right.
They're two different places. Baton Rouge daytime is like going to Sunday school class. Baton Rouge at night is like going to the gates of hell to play, what it feels like. I mean, I've been in Baton Rouge and seen them rocking buses and throwing rocks at windows. And then I've been at Baton Rouge at 7 a.m. when, none of them were out of bed.
3 years ago.
Yeah. They weren't even close to being in the stadium, and they were down 2 touchdowns in that game. Auburn's a little bit like that.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating about Auburn. Auburn at night is very different than Auburn in the daytime. So I don't know. I mean, there's some quaint little places, and then there's some places where you're like, yeah, okay, great, fine, whatever. I don't know. There's some places I want to go see that I would like for Tennessee to play some games at. I was hoping to get to go to Nebraska. I'm really looking forward to this Washington trip to see what that's like out there, because I think that's pretty unique. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know if anything jumps out at me I just really want to go back to that place. I wish they would play more true road games in non-SEC stadiums as opposed to all the neutral site stuff that we play now, because there are some places that I would like to see, just to say, hey, that's a great environment. Sure. That's a great atmosphere. I mean, LSU at night's as good as it gets, for sure. Georgia's as mean as it gets. I mean, it's pretty rowdy. They're pretty wound up with whoever comes to town when Georgia's in town. So that's a pretty serious atmosphere there.
My top 5 real quick: Florida, LSU, South Carolina, Notre Dame, and then Neyland's number 1.
I will say this about Notre Dame. I went into Notre Dame and was like, okay, it's Notre Dame, right? Whatever. And the first time I went up there and did everything on that Saturday before, we got everything set up early. And I went to every place that was in the movie Rudy. I just wanted to go see as much stuff like that. Those are the nicest people.
Yes.
And that is a really cool It is a really cool place to go at least one time.
For sure.
I'm so thankful I got to see that one time. I don't know if it's on my bucket list to go back multiple times, but to go see everything that you've seen on TV or in a movie or whatever, it's exactly like it's portrayed. I mean, it was a really cool place. I will put that one up in my top 5.
I like it.
Yep.
For All Quest, Brent Hubbs joins us Friday mornings here on the show. Great stuff as always, Brent. Appreciate you making time for us.
Thanks, Hubbs.
Thank you.
Yeah, Ramon, I'm going to go see if we can find something near the Ark, or I don't know where. I mean, one of these places I covered years ago.
There's one in
You're going to
Kentucky.
pay for that one. You're going to pay for that one, Ramon.
The Ark is in Kentucky. You can go see that one. So you're close.
The Leaning Tower of London, right? Yeah.
You're gonna pay for that one at some point, Ramon. Okay?
Don't tell me. You tell me Death Valley, I might end up in South Carolina. Okay.
Thank you, Brent. Appreciate you, sir.
Hey, guys.
All right. Brent Hubbs, brought to you by Said Federal Credit Union, your financial partner for every stage of life. Yes, if you missed it, we know the Coliseum is Ramon. Is in Rome, not Ramon. Ramon misspoke yesterday saying it was Greece, so that's been our running joke of the morning. Coming up, NBA draft. A lot of headlines to catch up on. Guys who don't want to play where they were drafted, and a Tennessee player that got drafted late last night. Coming up next. Ramona Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee, 104.5 The Zone. Scooters Coffee is locally owned in Middle Tennessee, in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. 615-737-1045, our number. So, Ramon, we talk a lot about how in the NBA, sometimes the storylines and the drama off the court overshadow what actually happens on it.
Yeah.
And whatever the heck's going on with Ace Bailey is the perfect example of it. So the former Rutgers player, which, by the way, the fact that Rutgers had two, top 10 picks and went under 500 last year, one of the more disappointing seasons in college sports.
That's where you ruin NIL money right there.
Number 5 pick by the Utah Jazz, a team he did not work out for, and one of which the number 3 prospect on ESPN's Top 100 list said he wasn't even sure was interested in him. Well, now there is speculation that he is trying to find a way out and not play for the Utah Jazz, and that he was trying to tell people, like, nope, don't draft me. These are the places that I want to go. It's a little bit of a mess, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is a mess, man. It says his PR team, which I guess you got to have your top 5 pick, top 10 pick, man, strategically tried to sabotage his draft stock in an effort to get him out of the top 5. Like, he didn't even want to go in the top 5 with the Wizards, Pelicans, or the Nets, man. And legitimately, I think he also had a beef with Philly, too. Like, he's just not into the foolishness, clearly. And it may be the case where he wants to be in a Miami, L.A., or somebody with some seasoned veterans or a good coach. Like, that's the thing about, like, the NBA. Like, these guys get lost and get traded and get pushed around in so many different spots and locations just to see what their potential is going to be. Like, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, like, being with Oklahoma isn't his original team. Like, there's so many guys that get moved around in the NBA. I feel like that's a part of, like, his plan. Like, players in the NBA, I'll say this. Blaine had a comment yesterday that kind of made me realize, like, how tough it is to make it to the association, to the NBA. It's 2 rounds, 59 picks. Shout out to Jamai Mayshak again. All right, just want to throw that out there. And also Chaz Lanier, too, while we keep going there, while we're going that route. But those guys in that world have been tracked, have been followed since probably their 7th, 8th grade years. And those teams and scouts and people know those guys going to be good. And when they realize that and find that out, they also try to facilitate their abilities to be put in real good situations. Because it's allowed to them more than almost any other sport, people frown at it. But when you're in these guys' situations and positions, like, one bad coach, one bad organization can ruin your career. Like, I know James Wiseman has had a little bit of injuries, but here's the guy's the number 2 overall pick. Within like a year or two, he was traded out of that city. Like, that's what you don't
happens
want.
Quick.
It happens quick. And for a young fella like him, man, that still stayed the top 5 with the PR that tried to crash his movement or selections, man, bro, you might just have to eat it. I don't know who he has in his camp or his representation that can pull Archie Manning. I don't know if he has a Elway type of situation. I don't know of many NBA players that have pulled this that aren't veterans.
Interesting, to say the least. So Omar Cooper, his agent, pushed back on the notion that anything they did during the process was outside of the normal course of business, saying every team watched him work out in Chicago. He did 18 interviews. Everyone got his medical. They got his measurements. No one said anything when Davion Mitchell canceled a workout with Toronto, or no one criticized Evan Mobley when he didn't work out for Cleveland. They drafted him anyway. There is nothing uncommon about the way Ace Bailey's pre-draft process was handled, according to his agent.
Also, from Tennessee, maybe he just don't want to be in Utah. He's from Chat, actually. Maybe he doesn't want to be in Utah. I don't know much that's going on there, but it seems to me, other than like having Karl Malone and John Stockton era,
sure.
It's, I don't know. You just go there to play basketball. But that's also the difference, too. Those dudes like to have fashion, a nightlife. They like to be in the mix a little bit. And I think it's cities like Oklahoma and also Utah. I mean, being in Utah, that kind of ruins the experience for you. I guarantee if it was Chicago, you wouldn't bat an eye. I say Chicago, that's Miami, fair. L.A., Dallas. You wouldn't bat an eye in those situations. But, I mean, my perspective, it is an honor to be drafted.
Absolutely.
My perspective, to be a top 5 pick, you run with that.
Make it work.
Make it
Believe enough in
work.
Yourself to elevate the people around you, not complain that they're not good enough.
I say this out of respect, but LeBron made Cleveland cool.
He definitely did.
So
he definitely did. Ace Bailey from Chattanooga, Tennessee, went to McCackern High School in Powder Springs, Georgia, just right over the border. I honestly could tell you why he didn't want to go to Utah, Ramon.
Why is that?
Waffle House.
It's true.
Needs more Waffle House.
This is true.
Ace Bailey just wants to go to a city where there's Waffle House. So remember, he's the one that we talked about last season at Rutgers when he went from Powder Springs, Georgia to Jersey. To Rutgers, to Piscataway, and said, man, I just miss, y'all don't have a Waffle House around here.
Yeah.
So just another place. He went through 1 year without Waffle House, and now he didn't have Waffle House
You know
again.
what he can do? With his signing bonus and contract, heck, he can make a friend. He can bring a franchise.
That's a great point.
I say this without knowing the numbers on it. I look it up on our break, but I can't imagine the franchise has been overly expensive. Like their small building.
Their Waffle House in Utah? No. There are no Waffle Houses in Utah.
Franchising a Waffle House. You know I do this type of stuff. I looked at a few restaurants, though. The licenses of the places that I wanted had already been bought up.
Nice.
Yeah. Franchising a Waffle House, the inherent costs is going to be, give me 1 second. Well, J-Hawk got it. There we go.
A Waffle House has a franchise fee of $200,000 to $300,000 with a total initial investment range of $600,000 to $1 million.
That's light work.
That's
Ace Bailey. Yeah, Ace Bailey, if you want Waffle House, just go put one in Utah.
You know what? And get 2 or 3 of them to make money off of them at that point.
615-737-1045 is our number. A suspension in the NFL. Justin Tucker's case has been wrapped up, but there's one key reason why. We'll talk about that next. Hey, it's Will Bowling. You have probably been looking for cars. You've seen the words buy here, pay here, and you've kept scrolling. You've looked elsewhere. Most of those dealers have bad reputations, but I'm here to tell you there's one place you can go with the best reputation. That's Nolensville Road Auto Mart. They're different for a few simple reasons. First off, they've been doing business in Nashville for 61 years. They're Nashville natives that only sell clean title cars under 12 grand. So if you are new to town and you need a place to trust, they got you. Maybe you need a first car for the 16-year-old in your family, they can do that too. You don't even need to take my word for it. The Google reviews are excellent, and that's saying something for a car dealership. With one location on Nolensville Road, close to Thompson Lane, Nolensville Road Auto Mart will get you in and out in an hour or less. The best part, they're the oldest buy here, pay here in Nashville. They work with your own financing if you got it. 615-242-1279 is the number. Flexibility, transparency, and honesty is why I recommend Nolensville Road Auto Mart. Give them a call at 615-242-1279.
It is 8:03. Good Friday morning from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. In NFL headlines yesterday, the NFL went down with a ruling on former Baltimore Ravens kicker Justin Tucker for violating the league's personal conduct policy. The five-time All-Pro will be suspended for the first 10 weeks of the season without pay, but he can be reinstated on November 11th. The 35-year-old was released by the Ravens after 13 seasons on May 5th last month, in the aftermath of reports that he was accused of inappropriate misconduct by massage therapists. Tucker maintains his innocence, however, but he will accept the NFL's ruling. The NHL draft gets underway with the first round tonight at 6 p.m. Central Time, and rounds 2 through 7 is tomorrow starting at 11 a.m. Central Time in Los Angeles. The Nashville Predators hold 9 draft picks in this year's draft, including 3 tonight in the first round at number 5, 23, and 26. Nashville SC, they're on the road again tomorrow night as they head to the nation's capital and face DC United. Nashville's looking for their third consecutive win and continue their club record 12-match unbeaten streak and try to make it 13. DC United is coming off 2 consecutive losses. First kick tomorrow night is at 6:30 p.m. Central Time, and of course you can hear that right here on 104.5 The Zone. Will Bowling and Eddie Carvacho is on the call, 6 o'clock pregame. For all of your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Balls. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Friday morning, second half of the show. Here already. This is Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooter's Coffee. Alongside Ramon Foster, I'm Will Bowling. Justin Hawkins, our producer, 615-737-1045, the number. A 10-game suspension has been made official against Ravens kicker Justin Tucker, but it was not the result of a hearing followed by a ruling. Ramon, there is some details to this that Mike Florio laid out at Pro Football Talk and Mark Mask of the Washington Post have written about. There's no appeal. The case is over because Justin Tucker essentially pled guilty yesterday.
Wow.
So punishment flowed from negotiations between his camp, the NFL, and the NFL Players Association for Tucker, who still denies wrongdoing, based on accusations from multiple individuals regarding misconduct during massage therapy sessions. He is essentially pleading it guilty or no contest, accepting a 10-game suspension. Here's the thing about this, Ramon, that I think is interesting. While his representation still says they're disappointed in the decision and are trying to market it as we didn't ask for this, Justin Tucker is on the open market.
Yeah.
He is a free agent. And for a player that is looking for work, clarity on when he can or can't play is critical right now. And at the very least, even if it is admitting guilt, Justin Tucker is fine with taking 10 games because now he can at least go to teams and say, this is when I can start playing for you again.
And now that his punishment's been handed out, also he can also go in with a plan to talk about what happened, because teams they have to grill him. They got to drill him on every single thing, every scenario. Do you have a problem? Why did this happen? Why did it get out? Also, the other parts of this for Justin Tucker, this came up, I think, about 2015 era for him. So it's something that's been looming for a while. It's just now somebody finally made a stick. It was a paper in Baltimore, I think, that pretty much ran with the story.
Baltimore Banner.
There it is.
On incidents from 2012 through 2016.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit in the locker room during that era, just because we gossip girls and stuff like that. But it's a sticky situation. The only reason this conversation is valid is because here's what we know. We've seen the NFL, be a second chance fairy tale for a lot of people. Mike Vick's been in that conversation. Heck, the quarterback I play with has been in this conversation. We're seeing Henry Ruggs right now start his petitioning and PR to potentially get a chance back into the NFL. Dante Stallworth, right? There's a lot of bad that happens around the NFL. This one is very egregious also. The assault or taking advantage of people is never to be tolerated. But again, to that point, Everybody will pearl clutch, but there's a team out there that will say, we did our due diligence. We looked at the guy. Because to a lot of people, he's still a weapon. No pun intended right there. As far as his abilities to play football, when you cross the 50, he has the ability to make field goals. Now, we'll see how the league treats him. When that opportunity or that window opens up at week 11, but he will, I guarantee you, try out for somebody this fall.
Yeah.
And that sucks for the victims, but also his family has got to deal with this too. It's a trash situation. It started by a guy like Justin Tucker, who essentially pled guilty to the terms that the NFL gave him.
Yeah, last season, Justin Tucker had an under 80% accuracy for the first time in his career. And not only was he under 80%, he was under 75%. Justin Tucker last season was 22 of 30 with a long of 56 yards, 73.3%. It's the first time that Justin Tucker hasn't made the Pro Bowl since 2018.
Yeah.
Was still perfect within 40 yards, but it was that 40 to 49 range for Justin Tucker where he really fell off last season. 5 of 8 between 40 and 49, 6 of 11 from 50 plus with a long of 56. To me, it feels like Justin Tucker's still going to land on a contender who has an inconsistent kicking situation in November.
You best believe it will.
Because that is when he will be available again, and that's going to be the way this is spun by his representation. And I don't blame them. They're doing their jobs the right way to say that we're still not admitting wrongdoing. We just want something done because this process is taking long enough to where we don't want to have a formal hearing and a formal process that might result in a longer suspension where you've got a Deshaun Watson kind of situation where you're suspended for an entire season.
Yep.
It'd be one thing if he was still on the Ravens. But the fact that Baltimore let him go, performance-based release, as they claim that it was not based on anything else, but just performance, he needs to find work, and he needs to know when he can play again. And now he knows. It's done, won't be appealed, and everybody can move on. For the victims, they're not moving on. They're not happy with the way this was resolved because they felt like he kind of settled and got an easy way out. Mm-hmm. And for his representation, they're not happy that he got anything because they still claim there was no wrongdoing. So when both sides are unhappy, that's typically what happens when something like this settles and is negotiated in the middle ground.
And it will be a lot of chaos from this, too. We'll see what civil lawsuits come out of this also. Right. Like, this is probably just the beginning of the nightmare for a guy like him, too, because him taking this 10 games and not fighting it or trying to appeal it or whatever the case may be, and now that it's also public, to your point about the victims, well, they see this also. And now it's time for lawyers, people like the victims to lawyer up also. The other part of this is, to your point about like it being November and a contender potentially kicking the tires on a guy like him, you better have a strong locker room. You better have earmuffs. We spoke about it earlier, how fans treat players and all that, just slightly. Some don't care. I've walked into numerous stadiums and hear the stuff that comes towards my former quarterback or having the protest outside of the stadium for whenever the Steelers signed Mike Vick. And Vick, at that point, had already had a rebound career in Philly.
Right.
So some people never forget, and I don't think you should ever want them to. But to walk in and out of stadiums for a guy like him that was already people considered different. I don't want to call him weird. People call him different with how he went about his life and his hobbies and stuff. So that is a difference. I heard somebody speaking about it this morning. I think it's Two Pros and a Cup of Joe. LeVar Arrington speaking about the GM for the Browns. Every day you wake up, do you have to worry about what Deshaun Watson news is about to drop? And when you're a contender, you don't want to deal with that madness, that nonsense of, this is I didn't get hired to handle non-football stuff.
Right. Right.
So he's going to be radioactive for a little while.
Eligible for reinstatement November 11th. I think we see him kicking the playoffs this year.
Trust. What matters, Nike said it years ago. Winning cures everything.
Just do it.
As sinister as that sounds, you say what you want to about a person, you will love them.
Coming up, what do you have to get in return for a Will Levis trade? Is Will Levis available for trade? We'll talk about that next.
It's Ramon Foster for Medical House Calls. Good people, and that's exactly what it is. It is doctors, nurses who will come to your house and service you. There is no waiting room attached to it. There is no, hey, see somebody in the corner coughing and hacking, and you feel like you're going to get sicker from going to the waiting room to the doctor. Okay, and I know men, we guys hate visiting the doctor. Well, get them to come to you, man. You can go to the website at medicalhousecalls.com, or you can give the number right now at 615-838-2375. And what I'll tell you is this: they can take your labs, they can get your prescriptions, they can help you recover from a long weekend or a week that you're about to have, man. They're good at fighting stuff like the flu, or they can also help you with those performance-enhancing cocktails. Their nurses come to the door and they administer IVs to just help you get back and better and just feel good about yourself. If you're feeling fatigue, persistent illness, or injuries, listen, they can hook you up by simply you calling them or visiting their website at medicalhousecalls.com. Again, I myself was setting one up because the summers get hot, you get worn down, you get tired, you travel a lot, and just the body needs a little bit of help too. Again, the website is medicalhousecalls.com. You can call them at 615-838-2375.
Ramona Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee, 104.5 The Zone. Visit a locally owned location near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Ramona did something really stupid.
What?
I, this morning, was so tired when I was making coffee before the first cup had hit, because I didn't make it at home today. I made it here. Yeah. Forgot to put the grounds in the coffee machine. Oh. There's just a carafe of hot water.
We got pure water.
It's just been sitting in
You cleaned it. Look at the bright. Look at me. I'm silver lining. You cleaned it.
You're right.
That's a clean rinse right there. That's fair. So nothing.
I just now went in to get some. I was like, oh, this is just hot water.
Will, you said you had a few late nights this week. I get it. Hey, it's not.
There's been a lot of soccer to go watch. All right,
it's not the next day. It's usually a couple days later.
I'm good now. I'm not physically that tired. What we do is very easy and not very physically taxing. But
I was wondering who did that. I thought Ramon was about to make some more oatmeal.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, that was an accident.
As my mom would say, at least we're not digging ditches with forks, right?
Exactly.
We're not doing that. By the way,
exactly.
If you want to check yourself, I got to check J Hawk too.
What happened?
He gets a demerit. Here we are having a sensitive conversation about Justin Tucker. He comes back playing R. Kelly.
Oh, what are we doing? That's tough.
No, it take me about 30 years ago. We can probably play Kells.
I don't know if R. Kelly is in the rotation anymore.
Nah, this is a non-R. Kelly show.
Justin, your thoughts?
I thought it was hilarious. It fit the mold.
It's a little too on the nose.
It literally fit the mold.
There's the stove top. There's the hand. Hover it. Don't touch it. You touch the stove, J Hawk, right there.
Oh, no, we lit. No, we're lighting right on fire.
No, we're anti-R. Kelly over here, even though he's... Never mind. We're good. We're moving forward.
We are moving forward.
Thank you, J Hawk. That's all I was asking for.
What do you need to get in return for Will Levis?
What do I need?
615-737-1045 is our number. Do you want to even shop Will Levis? Let's start there, Ramon. Is Will Levis the best backup quarterback option for the Tennessee Titans in 2025?
I'm pausing. Is Will Levis, ask that question one more time so I can think.
Is Will Levis, I'll answer it first if you want time to think. Is Will Levis the best backup quarterback option in 2025? My answer is no. I'm trading Will Levis in training camp or preseason if I can help it, if I feel like my price is met. And I think Brandon Allen is this team's backup quarterback. If Cam Ward, God forbid, goes down or cannot start a game or cannot play, this team is not in the position to where it needs the best possible quarterback as its backup quarterback. Because Cam Ward is the future. Developing Will Levis is no longer your most important goal and mission in that quarterback room. Let's say if Will Levis has to start 4 or 5 games and wins you a couple, that doesn't help you as a franchise. And for a team in a rebuild right now, I actually think it hurts you as a franchise. If you are unlucky enough where Cam Ward doesn't play all 17 games, Will Levis winning you games just makes it harder to surround Cam Ward with good players. Now, I am not in favor of tanking. I'm never in favor of tanking. I'm never in favor of cheering against your team. But part of rebuilding an NFL franchise and team is knowing how to lose, and that's part of it to me. It's not about having the best option at backup quarterback. It is about setting up Cam Ward for success. And to me, that means Brandon Allen and Tim Boyle be the other 2 quarterbacks in his room to help mentor him as extensions of the coaching staff for his rookie season.
I absolutely love your answer. That will back up mine too, in a sense. You asked the question: is Will Levis the best quarterback for this team? Basically, the answer is yes. Because he's the one who possesses the most talent, the most potential, and also, I think, the biggest ability, the greater ability to get better in his craft. The answer is yes. Is he good for this team as a backup? Just as a player. To your point and everything that you just said, the building of this team, you talk about to get good as a squad, you got to also know how to lose correctly. You know what team that I look at now and said they lost correctly to reset themselves? Los Angeles Rams. I think they did it well. They end up getting a quarterback. They shipped everybody off. Guys retired, moved on, free agency and stuff like that. Aaron Donald, generational player, left. They still got their quarterback. They fought to keep him. But they ain't also able to get guys like Jared Verse, Braden Fisk. They ended up finding guys as far as the offensive line goes. They've made themselves Puka Nacua, right? Like, they've gotten themselves in position to be competitive again. Now moving forward is the way I look at that situation. I think that's the same pathway for the Titans. Although I will say, if you are trying to be competitive and put a product out there that your fan base believes in, we discussed a little bit the Teron Davenport article where he saw Will Levis at the tight end U camp, where he was a quarterback that was out there throwing. Again, Cam Ward said he was going to throw the bleep out of the football. Will Levis is showing you that he's doing it at the tight end U camp that they just finished up. I think it's finished up now. But what I'm getting at is this. Teron Davenport ended up speaking to Levis and talking to coaches surrounding Levis. This has been documented also, too, his role that he's played this spring. Will Levis's ability to acknowledge that he was terrible as far as mentally getting himself ready. He ended up going to get a quarterback coach this offseason, try to help his lower body be in the right position that he's supposed to. So I do think, to your point, Will, being in the same offense 2 years in a row, same voices, same sound, better team. If you parade Will Levis out there in moments that he's got to play, you're probably going to drop yourself down as far as the draft goes, because I do think he will be better. This is probably about as far of a compliments I've given Will Levis so far. But to your point, I think he's the best backup. Is he best for this team? Probably not.
So I think there's an even better example out there of the way this worked for another team.
Who?
Brandon Allen and the Bengals. When Joe Burrow got hurt in 2020, Cincinnati went 4-11-1. Brandon Allen started 5 games for Cincinnati that season. He went 1-4. Now, all that being said, Brandon Allen is not here to just lose you games. Brandon Allen is still a legitimate backup quarterback in this league. If Brandon Allen has to go in and start games for me, I will hope he wins. I hope the Titans win. I'm serious.
I love how this sounds.
I'm serious.
Because that's the goal.
That is, A, the goal. B, it probably means that other players you need to get better are getting better. And C, he's more likely to be a part of this thing moving forward. Mm-hmm. Brandon Allen is a Brian Callahan guy. Brandon Allen is a game management type of quarterback to the same ilk as Mason Rudolph, who's not really going to lose you games, even though he might also go win you very many games. But Brandon Allen, I'm more okay with winning me some games because he's more likely to be here long-term than Will Levis is. So that's the first thing. But the reason why Cincinnati had the ability to pair up Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow is because they didn't have a good enough backup quarterback to win them pointless games. And saying any game is pointless in the NFL is doing a disservice to the professionals in it. That's right. So I understand that comment is a little shallow for me. And I understand that is not 100% accurate. But just understand where I'm coming from here. If Cam Ward gets hurt, you don't need someone who's not going to be here long term, making it harder for you to get legitimate weapons for Cam Ward moving forward. That's just the reality of the situation at this point. Mm-hmm. It's not to say anybody over there wants to lose games, but if you're going to lose, let's do it the right way. That, I think, is an important part of the conversation at this point. Cincinnati did it. They went 4-11-1 Joe Burrow's rookie season. He got hurt for the final 6 games of the year. They ended up in his position to draft Jamar Chase the next year. They went to a Super Bowl the following season in 2021.
Oh, to expand upon it even more, Will, Brandon Allen's career record as a starter, 2-8. And you also have to ask yourself, too, well, how in the heck is he still in the NFL? It's because of the things that you just said a second ago. He's 32 years old, so there's a sense of maturity with him, too. You also add to the fact that he knows Coach Brian Callahan, and it's clear to me that he's playing the role that you have to. Like, I'm looking at, like, other starters in the league, like Josh Allen. You know who his backup is? A guy that can get frisky if you need him to, but he's no threat to the starters. It's Mitch Trubisky. Look around the league at guys that are in positions of being that are franchise quarterbacks. They have serviceable but not as good backups. Because my biggest point with a guy like Will Levis is he's still, in my opinion, has the ambition to be a starter. Yeah. I'll also bring into the
he's
fact,
not just a career backup yet.
Look at the way personally for me, Pittsburgh handled Kenny Pickett. When there was time to move on, they ended up going to get Russell Wilson, but also got rid of the guy that was supposed to be the man. And then, of course, you have Mason, right, that was in a position to play and not be a threat to a guy like Kenny Pickett. Now Kenny Pickett ended up getting traded to Philly to play a role, to be an assistant to Jalen Hurts. Like, that's where you put yourself at. Now, he goes, do the wash round, finds himself getting traded back to Cleveland. And the rumors that we've heard have been Cleveland would want him to be the starter. Again, these types of guys that are very high strung, you can't have them as backups because eventually they're going to want to sniff and get back under center again. And I think specifically that's what Will Levis is. And me personally, I don't blame him for wanting to be out of that.
Oh, right. That part of it.
He's chasing his dream.
It's the reality of the situation at this point. He is not far enough into his career to just accept being a backup quarterback. Oh. The other part of it I think is tough is the first time Cam Ward has a 2 or 3 interception game, there will be people screaming from the rafters, just put Levis back in.
See?
We should have just gone Abdul Carter. Should have just traded back. Put Levis back in. You minimize that by getting him out. Yeah. 615-737-1045. Your thoughts on Will Levis, on trade value, and all these things. So Cleveland, Ramon, agreed to trade Dorian Thompson-Robinson and their 2025 fifth-round pick from Detroit to Philly for Kenny Pickett. Mm-hmm. That is a third quarterback and a 2025 fifth-round pick. Is that a realistic price for Will Levis if they were to trade him?
No, it's not.
Really?
Nope.
Why
said, not? What was it, a fifth?
A fifth and Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
I think you're fighting for a 6 with Will Levis. Me personally, because one thing that Will Levis has, I'm efforting his win-loss. I think he's far below 500 when it comes down to his career. Will Levis doesn't have much good out of his first couple of years as a starter. He was a spot starter earlier on as it pertains to him being behind Ryan Tannehill. He's 5-16 as a starter. At least Kenny Pickett, for what it's worth, did have a winning record in Pittsburgh. Now, you can say, well, it's because of the defense or the parts around him. But Will Levis doesn't have that luxury.
Will Levis had a pretty decent defense, too, but he just gave the ball to the other offense so much that, that defense had no chance. So that's part of it.
Yes. Yeah. I feel
Record's
like
part of it.
He's more moving forward in the Jameis Winston situation than he
Levis?
is. Yes. To where he's going to have to go sit, do a 1-year deal, or get traded to a spot to where he gets a 1-year deal, and eventually the opportunity comes. Jameis is making $7 million, I think, this year. This is not the end of the road for a guy like Will Levis. It's a matter of what the Titans get. I think you're fighting for a 6, but legitimately, you probably end up getting a 7, Will.
On YouTube, you can enter the conversation, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch at the F&M Bank chat. Mike Vrabel's burner writes in.
Uh-oh.
It says, everyone's going to be surprised when Levis does well elsewhere because of this false narrative Callahan built to save his own job. He says, I maintain Levis will have more of a career as a starting quarterback in the NFL than Callahan as a head coach. Thoughts?
I can't see that being the case.
Brian Callahan did not build a narrative against Will Levis, first of all.
No.
There's no narrative building. If Brian Callahan's built any narrative around Will Levis, it's that he's getting better this offseason. That's the only thing we've heard him say is that, he's improving footwork, the mechanics, and all of those things. Like, Will Levis is not the scapegoat for Brian Callahan. Brian Callahan didn't tell Will Levis to throw the ball on a shovel pass halfway to the earth to the defense. Like, Brian Callahan is the guy walking out, ripping his headset off, saying, what the bleep are you doing?
Exactly. And Mike Vrabel's burner is the account also. That's, if I'm not mistaken, that's the coach that drafted him. Brian Callahan had nothing to do with him because he was on a squad that had a quarterback at the time that had zero evaluation of a guy like Will Levis in a strong suit. So it was that part. If there was anything that Coach Brian Callahan did taking this job was, I think, over-believing in Will Levis.
Propping him up on the front end too much.
He was super excited.
That's a more legitimate conversation than there's a narrative built on the back end to save his job.
No.
That just isn't true.
Absolutely not. I will say this. I think Coach Brian Callahan believed too much in him. He gave him too much too soon. And the PR push behind Will Levis to get him to be a national guy played a bigger part into Will Levis's demise than anything with Coach Brian Callahan had to do with it. From all intents and purposes of being around him and watching him, their communication was elite. Heck, the dude got 3 quarterback coaches essentially and a head coach, Nick Holtz, and also Bo Hardegree. And then who's London? Who's the other coach they brought in?
Charles London.
Charles London was another guy. They've tried to help facilitate that for him. Now, drawing back to being able to go get your guy, I would say I would feel better. I would say that conversation had more of a stance if you said this about Cam Ward. This is his guy. This is the guy that he's evaluated all year long. He, in my opinion, I think sold himself way too far into the belief that Will Levis is going to be a stud. Yeah. More than anything. I can't get with that one.
The only way you are getting a 5th-round pick, to me, for Will Levis is if you include a 7th going the other direction. That is the Joe Milton price. The Patriots traded Joe Milton to the Cowboys in exchange for a 2025 5th. The Patriots also included a 2025 7th in the deal. Trey Lance, August 23rd, was traded training camp. This is the kind of timeline, I think, where you could see Will Levis traded. August 23rd, 2023, 4th-round pick. Crazy overpay by the Dallas Cowboys to begin with.
Very much
But the 23-year-old Trey Lance was selected 3 overall in 2021. Brock Purdy takes over that job, obviously. Lance saw the field in 8 games, including 2 starts. Trey Lance got you a 4th-round pick because of the unknown. Joe Milton got you a 5th-round pick because of the unknown.
Yep.
We unfortunately know what Will Levis is. A quarterback who takes way too many unnecessary sacks and way too routinely throws the ball to the other team.
Yes, very much so. His reputation is, until he gets a second opportunity, is set. I thought a quarterback was going to get a second opportunity and make way for themselves, though, Will, and that is Mr. Trubisky. Chicago, everybody said, ruined him.
Yeah.
He goes to Buffalo, have a wash,
became a
rinse,
backup quarterback.
And then Pittsburgh brought him in. Will, Mr. Trubisky is just what he is.
He's just a guy. He's a backup quarterback.
He's a turnover.
There's plenty of them.
He's a turnover king.
Yep.
He's cool in the locker room. People love him.
Similarly to Levis, too, he didn't play a ton of college football.
Come on, bro. Like,
2-year starter.
the first 2 years matter of your professional career. But here's also what matters, too. Human opinions more than AI. I did a what is Will Levis trade value for, Google AI overview? You gonna laugh.
What did they say?
You gonna laugh.
Okay.
Will Levis's trade value is in the range of a mid-4th to late 6th or a 3rd and 5th round pick swap.
Absolutely not. No shot.
This is because while he was a friend's first-round prospect, he is now a backup quarterback on a rookie contract.
Google AI has no business in NFL front offices, clearly.
Google AI is tripping.
Boom, roasted.
Boom.
Daryl in the Burrow asks on YouTube, how about packaging Burks and Levis? Traylon Burks doesn't have any trade value right now.
They're in the same boat, rowing in different directions.
Will Levis has so much more trade value than Traylon Burks at this point. Yeah. At this point, you might as well see what Traylon can give you for all of training camp. Because his value to you, you're not really saving any money by getting rid of him anyway. So you might as well keep him around and see what training camp looks like and go from there.
Just wait and see.
And get him totally healthy again.
Throw him on special teams, Will.
Another comment in the F&M Bank chat says, Levis had a rookie right tackle and left tackle protecting him. Facepalm. Josh Allen had the exact same rookie first 17-game stats as Levis. What did Buffalo do? They built around him.
Yeah.
So let's compare Josh Allen and Will Levis then. Well, I'll go down that road. Here's the thing on Will Levis. That rookie left tackle wasn't as bad with Mason Rudolph in than he was with Levis.
It was not. You got numbers to prove it.
I mean, that is the thing people miss. Quarterbacks play a role in sacks happening. Mm-hmm. That offensive line was far from perfect last year. But Will Levis is really bad at protecting himself under pressure and evading sacks. It's that part of it. That the rookie left tackle, and I mean, it wasn't really rookie right tackle. It was a revolving door at right tackle. Those guys weren't good overall. I think J.C. Latham was fine for rookie. It's what you expected.
All right with that.
But overall, there's a reason why Mason Rudolph took about half the sacks that Will Levis did last year, because he knows how to get the ball out on time. Will Levis does not throw at the level of anticipation and poise in the pocket to be able to have success when he's under pressure. It was just not a good match at all.
We can call it a wash real quick in year one for rookie quarterbacks. Is that fair to say? Because Levis started 9 games. They were 5 and 6. And
I wouldn't say it's a wash. I mean, depending on how many games you play.
Well, I kind of want to go to year 2 of this Josh Allen versus Will Levis.
Let's do it, because the commenter says it's the exact same stats. Well, in year 2, Josh Allen went 10-6 as a starter with 20 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 3,000 yards. And Will Levis
2-10.
Went 2-10 as a starter with 2,000 yards, 13 touchdowns, 12 picks. It's just not even in the same neighborhood of the same stats.
Let's go one step further. Josh Allen in 16 games in his second year had 38 sacks contributed to him. We understand the type of ball he did. Will Levis in 12 games had 41.
Saying that Josh Allen and Will Levis had the same numbers is just a completely wild statement to make. There's just 0% truth to it. 0%.
Yeah, you can't do that one. I'm sorry.
Levis sacked. What was the total sack rate? 11 point. Yeah. I'm looking at percentages because percentages you can compare with different amounts of stats. Will Levis was sacked 11.99% of the time last season. Josh Allen in year 2, 7.6%.
Yeah.
It's just not close to being the same.
You know the other part of it too for Will Levis in year 2 versus Josh Allen? 4, the number 4. Josh Allen has 4 comeback game wins. 4 of them. There's optimism in that. Will Levis maybe one. I can't tell you which one it was, though. Where it was a comeback game-winning drives for Will Levis. I'll try to effort that. Houston. There it is.
What, in Miami?
No, that was Mason.
Yeah.
No, in
23. We're talking
about year 2.
Talking about last year.
Yeah.
23 Miami. Last season, 1 fourth quarter comeback. Josh Allen had quadruple that.
He had 5 of them, my bad. 5 game-winning drives.
Yeah, he had 5 game-winning drives and 4 fourth quarter comebacks. Let's go to Chase on the Will Levis trade value, 615-737-1045. What's up, Chase?
How's it going, guys?
Good morning.
I was going to say, basically, it's just a rewind of 6 years ago. The same people, they wouldn't admit it now. We're all, I can't believe that we're benching Marcus Mariota. It's a bad offensive line. It's not his fault, blah, 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 blah. And look what he's done since. And it'll be the same thing with Will Levis. So all these people with this talking this mess, for some reason, just don't like Cam Ward, and they want to say that, Will Levis, this, that, and the other. Sit down. Sit down.
No doubt.
Appreciate it, Chase. Thanks for the call. I think there is some truth to that. Marcus at least showed you more flashes than Levis has, aside from a couple games. Comment on YouTube says, Buffalo built around Allen every year after. What do you think Calvin Ridley is? What do you think Tony Pollard is?
Cush.
What do you think Lloyd Cushenberry is? What do you think Tyler Boyd is? The Titans built around Will Levis. They gave him the ingredients, and Will Levis burned down the whole kitchen.
Yes. Tavondre. Tajay.
They didn't do a perfect job of it. Clearly.
Tony. We can keep going.
But they built around Will Levis last season. Let's not do this revisionist history that Will Levis was out there with practice squad guys and UFL players. Will Levis has a $20 million wide receiver who got 1,000 yards last season and one of the better running backs in the NFL a season ago. And the line wasn't perfect. But again, that line was pretty decent with Mason Rudolph behind center.
Offensive-minded head coach. Changed the chemistry of the team.
They built everything around Will Levis. It's not all his fault, but you can't keep going back there and just giving him more opportunities.
One of the best PRs I feel like I've seen in a while. The dude had a Mayo Senate cologne. We're be real about the opportunity. It was vast. When you look at everything that was involved in it, Will, it was big for Levis.
Yeah.
It really was.
At this point, Will Levis's best value to you is a 5th-round pick. And that's what I'm holding out for. I am hoping, if I'm Chad Brinker and Mike Borgonzi, that Will Levis can do enough in extended preseason opportunities to get me a 5th-round pick. And the second one of those becomes available, even if I've got to send a 7 the other way, I'm taking it.
Hey, Mike Borgonzi, early candidate for GM of the year if he pulled a 5th off.
I don't think it's that. I don't think it's unrealistic.
I
really don't.
And that's my personal opinion of Levis, though. It's where I'm at with it.
615-737-1045. We'll get to Chris first on the phone lines. What is Will Levis's trade value, or should he be your backup quarterback? Your thoughts next. Ramona Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee, 104.5 The Zone. Wrapping up hour number 3 this morning. The Foster 5 craziest fan bases. Coming up for Ramon Foster in 15 minutes. Lori Lindsay talking Nashville SC at 9:20 this morning. 615-737-1045. The question we asked before the break, though, are you willing to trade Will Levis? And if so, what do you want in return? What is his trade value? Chris, next up on the phone lines with us this morning. What's up, Chris?
Chris.
I said it from the first game against Chicago. Trade Will Levis, get a case of Gatorade, and if you trade both of them together, him and Burks, you can get a box of wrapping tape and pre-wrap.
Pre-wrap? Come on, man. Come on,
Pre-wrap.
Chris. Chris went after the first game. You were done?
Done.
Dang.
Let him eat mayonnaise and go on about his business.
Yeah, that's fair.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate
Should
it.
ask Chris if he was a fan of the Vols first before people say, oh, you Tennessee fans. You hate them.
I'll let them say whatever they want.
You hate them.
Bag of footballs and case Gatorade. A little harsh.
Some pre-wrap. I ain't gonna lie to you. Pre-wrap tape, though, man, in high school is legit trying to spat your cleats and stuff.
Yeah.
I said something to you before we came on air. I was just like, the reality of it is the reason why my stance has been this way, and I think yours is too, like, Will Levis has a still big fan base here.
Yeah,
right,
100%. This is a legitimate conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It's the biggest discussion of the offseason. Adam disagrees on Twitter, says, come on, guys, I know it's the dead period, but, man, these topics get worse and worse on radio.
Adam, this is America, Jack. You got options.
You got choices, buddy.
You got choice. I'm not asking you to leave.
This is the quarterback that was drafted here 2 years ago, who the owner said is a promising young quarterback for our head coach to develop. It's a storyline.
Yeah.
And spoiler alert, we're going to keep talking about it. Let's look at the phone lines and look at our comment section on YouTube since we started talking about it. People want to talk about Will Levis still, and there are still a lot of people, A, because they liked him at Kentucky, or B, because they just feel like he hasn't gotten a fair shake here, who still believe that there is a chance for him here.
And see the potential. I will say this. I think Will Levis has a ton of potential in him. It's going to take the right scenario, the right offense, and also just seeing him be under the gun again and see what that process like. I will say, I think he got way too high on his own supply on that Atlanta game and thought the league is that easy. I genuinely do think that. And he was chasing those moments again. Like, it's not that. Sometimes what is Chad Brinker and Mike Berganzi been saying? We're looking at first downs before touchdowns. Like, that's the mindset, I think, going forward. The Brian in our YouTube chat, by the way, you can always join us on YouTube. Find us on their Facebook and Twitch. With that being said, he's got a trade option for proposal also for Will Levis. You want to hear it?
Yeah, I saw it.
He said, give me a bag of footballs, a dinner at your finest steakhouse, and tickets to any sporting event, and he's yours.
Brian's displeasure with Levis is well documented.
It's very documented,
He hates him.
okay?
Hates him.
It's very documented, man. But again, just because he gets let go, will get let go at one team doesn't mean his career is over. It is like legitimately planning for your future. And I think the future was shown on draft night.
We can't be scared of someone going somewhere else and being decent, too. We got Cam Ward now. Mm-hmm. Life goes on. Other people are allowed to succeed at new places, and sometimes the change of scenery is the critical step in doing that. Malik Willis would not have become what he is in Green Bay now if he had just stayed here. And that's not necessarily because anything here was that wrong for him, but a change of scenery and change of perspective is often the difference for guys like that. Doesn't mean that Brian Callahan was a failure in terms of developing Malik Willis. It just maybe means that Matt LaFleur is the perfect fit for him. And I tend to think that he probably is, to be honest with you.
No doubt about it. Speaking of like being scared to let go of guys, there's a VFL that did the Steelers like that. 100%. It's because of like, if you let him go, he might turn into the monster you think he should be. You know who it is? It's Dan McCullers. I personally felt like Pittsburgh, and I hate to say this as a VFL, but like Pittsburgh held on to Big Dan, and Big Dan didn't give much production out of it because if you let go of him, he may go to a team and turn into a demon, and you don't want to face that guy because, hey, that's just how the league works sometimes, different settings. Now, Dan wasn't a failure. He's got, 7 years out of the NFL at that point? Very solid. But I do remember that conversation. Like, when is that switch going to flip for a guy like him? And sometimes it just never does. And, like, guys are good enough, but not what you want them to be. And I think that's what Will Levis is here. That's just my personal opinion on it. I'm a little bit more brash about this because as an undrafted guy, like, you don't get these opportunities. Like, we're looking at Restrepo right now, right? We're looking at Bryce Oliver trying to
scratch a claw for everything as undrafteds.
Claw.
And first and second round picks just get handed second chance after second chance after second chance.
And he's going to get one. And undrafted guys get those opportunities too. But, like,
maybe for the Memphis Showboats.
Seriously.
Or for the Birmingham Stallions.
You've
got to go outside the league sometimes now to get those opportunities if you don't stick your first spot as an undrafted.
Bro, I'm talking about, and like for the guys that are in those positions of being drafted, you got 2 years. I don't care. I'm looking at a situation in Pittsburgh with Roman Wilson. Roman's got a big year this year to prove that he's a valid player, wide receiver in the NFL. I mean, we're talking about Tajay with some questionable, points in his career. Can he stay healthy again? And Josh Wiley. This is a very unforgiving league, and this is why the turnover is so big, and this is why they also don't have guaranteed contracts.
Yeah, right. Coming on YouTube says he definitely hasn't gotten a fair shake, Will Levis. Yeah, welcome to the NFL. I mean, guys don't get fair shakes.
Talk to Traylon about that.
Yeah, like it just is what it is.
Talk to Rand about that.
Yeah, right. The NFL has never claimed to be fair.
Lovie Smith.
Never claimed to be fair. It keeps moving on whether you are on the train or not. And when you lose enough games for your team to draft their quarterback of the future, and they feel like they like that quarterback of the future, which the Titans clearly do with Cam Ward, then you get the boot.
Exactly.
That's how it works.
But here's the other part. You find yourself in a Bryce Young situation. Basically got benched, reshaped himself or reshifted his mind.
Figured it out.
And now they're one of the more optimistic teams going into the 2025 season from where they're coming from.
Yeah.
Like, these are just the things that happen across all leagues, though.
I think Levis could still be a successful quarterback in this league as a backup. I don't think he is a starter for a good team out of the 32.
Right.
I just don't think he has traits you have to have that are difficult to teach. Throwing with anticipation, internal clock, the mindset to be able to handle the pressure of being an NFL quarterback. I'm not sure he'll ever have that.
Right.
I think he may give you some flash in the pans where he steps in for a starter and says, whoa, dang, this Levis guy, why'd the Titans give him up? He's pretty decent. But until he can sustain that for a 17-game schedule as a QB1 of a franchise, I'll have to believe it when I see it. I would be very surprised if that happened.
I would say for guys like Levis, Mason Rudolph, Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, there's a long
Josh
Rosen. There's a long list of people. They need to be calling on two guys, in my personal opinion, man. That is Tyrod Taylor. That is also Geno Smith. How did y'all survive enough to become respectable quarterbacks in this league? Geno, to me, there may be another quarterback out there that's in that conversation, but Geno, to me, wasn't great with the Jets and somehow found a way to be a great locker room guy and eventually got another shake.
615-737-1045 on Twitter at Ramona Will, where you can follow the show and stream the show. Coming up, another Foster 5, the craziest fan bases for Ramona to deal with as a player, as a fan, everything in between. That's next.
It is 8:59. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone studios, and happy Friday. I'm Justin Hawkins. In NFL headlines yesterday, the NFL officially has a ruling on former Baltimore Ravens kicker Justin Tucker for violating the league's personal conduct policy. The five-time All-Pro will be suspended for the first 10 weeks of the season without pay, but he can be reinstated on November 11th. The 35-year-old is a free agent after being released by the Ravens after 13 seasons last month on May 5th. Tucker maintains his innocence, but he will accept the NFL's ruling. The NHL draft tonight gets underway with the first round tonight at 6 p.m. Central Time, and rounds 2 through 7 is tomorrow starting at 11 a.m. Central in Los Angeles. The Nashville Predators, they hold 9 draft picks in this year's draft, including 3 in the first round tonight at number 5, number 23, and number 26. Nashville SC, they're on the road again tomorrow as they head to the nation's capital and face DC United. Nashville, they're looking for their third straight win and continue their club record 12-match unbeaten streak and try to make it 13. DC United, they're coming off 2 consecutive losses. First kick tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m. Central Time, and of course, you can hear that right here on 104.5 The Zone. Will Bowling and Eddie Carvacho is on the call. Pre-game is set for 6 p.m. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go into our number 4. This is Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee. Visit a locally owned location near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. 615-737-1045, the number. Alongside Ramon Foster, I'm Will Bowling. Coming up in 20 minutes, we'll be joined by Lori Lindsay of MLS on Apple TV. Nashville SC taking on DC United. The boys in gold unbeaten in 12, winners of 2 straight on the road against Chicago. Earlier this week against New England, 3-2. They get DC tomorrow. And then next Saturday, first place Philly coming to town. So we'll talk some soccer coming up in 20 minutes. Looking forward to that.
Should be pretty cool, man. Looking forward to it myself, Will.
So the Foster 5 this morning, Ramon, is craziest fan bases. Off the top, what is the breakdown of fan bases that are crazy for you as a player or just you as a fan within this list?
Obnoxious for no particular reason. Also, a huge rush of new fandom is also part of this conversation, too.
Interesting.
Being criminal adds to it, too, and just
being criminal.
Also not being aware.
Okay.
That's my criteria for this group of folks right here.
So let's get it started. Number 5, craziest fan bases.
Number 5, craziest fan base. I'm going to throw Ohio State out there. Unsufferable. Like, legitimately having teammates, seeing the OH is somebody right now about to say IO. I guarantee you. Just anywhere random, like the way I think Ohio State is the Georgia of the Big Ten. Because the random OHs and then of the IOs right behind it is like, to me, the equivalent of like the Georgia barking, which bothers a lot of people.
Sure.
It's just so random. They win a lot. They also is just like they're stubborn and like their approach to how brash and how sold they are on their team. And then they just need a moment of just being trash for a while, too. That's my other part. They had a year of sucking.
That's fair. Ohio State, I would say them and Florida both are about tied for the worst I've been treated as a visiting fan ever, as a Tennessee fan.
Yeah,
Florida and Ohio State were the 2 meanest ones for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, so Ohio State 5.
Ohio State 5. Cleveland
at 4.
They make this list for awareness. You were good when nobody on this earth were alive, mostly. Okay, like that's the way I look at them. They're rude. They're loyal as hell. So that's the one positive I got to give to them. To be a fan of Cleveland, you got to be loyal. They're loyal as heck. But their ability to trash talk you and know that they're gonna get beat, it's just like, why do y'all do this? Like, y'all are the worst. I've seen them throw batteries, throw stuff on the field. They curse you out probably more than any fan base I've ever been around, just to walk out with bags on their head. So Cleveland, I'm gonna throw out there.
Okay, Cleveland number 4.
Number
3,
Philly fans.
Yeah, Philly fans have got to make this list.
Yeah, they get criminal.
I respect them quite a bit.
They are.
They're probably the one on this list, and they'd be on mine too, that I do have some appreciation for because they're overall, I think, good fans. But their crazies are the craziest.
And like to live that life.
Yes, they do.
And love to tell you about it.
Yes, they do.
Okay. So I ain't wrong.
I like Eagles fans. I overall, I do. But their worst, because everyone has a bottom 10% of insane fans.
Yeah.
Their bottom 10% is the worst. I would put them at number 1 on my list in terms of like who's got the craziest, just overall crazies.
Yeah.
They would have to be number 1 on that list.
They deserve that. Number
100%.
1. Their bottom 10 deserves a number 1 ranking.
100%.
I agree with you. They cussed out Santa Claus. Okay.
Threw snowballs at him.
Just nuts. The Santa Claus. My number 2. Patriots fans.
Oh, interesting. Well, you mentioned this off the top that it's going to be prefaced with jumping on a bandwagon.
Yeah, them and my number 1. I had never heard much of the Patriots. I'm talking about ever heard much of the Patriots. Then Tom happens, Bill happens, Kraft happens, and voila, they got one of the biggest fan bases. I know one of my high school friends was a Patriots fan. Like, dog, you got the Cowboys, you got San Francisco, you got the Titans. A Patriots fan, I continuously ask him, you still a Patriots fan? And he cannot answer the question. He cannot answer the question. They have a generation of adults now that never know what losing is consistently, but I'd never heard of them beforehand, Will. Like, this is by far one of the most, I think, naive fan bases in all of NFL. Their bottom, I wouldn't give it their 10%.
Sure.
Their bottom 5% is probably number 2 behind Philly as far as rankings to me. Just rude. It is.
Fair enough.
Yeah. That's my number 2.
Well, it's just there's an entitlement there with Patriots fans.
There it is. That's the word.
Because like you talked about with Cleveland, a lot of fans haven't grown up with them ever being relevant.
Yeah.
A lot of Patriots fans have grown up, but they've always been relevant.
Some of y'all wish we would have played Robert Kraft. Rob said the other day, I think it's the Fanatics Fest, the worst 2 years of his life. Bro.
Champagne problems.
You can't talk about Bill that way.
Yeah,
he
that's
brought
right.
you 6 of them.
That's right.
You can't do that. No crime from the yacht, as they like to say. My last one, super close to the heart.
Okay.
Very similar to the Patriots.
I know it's coming.
It's the fake Bama fans that became UT fans again in 2022.
Oh, I did not expect that one. Okay.
Can't stand them.
I'm shocked not to see Ravens on this list, but continue.
I respect the hell out of their fans.
Okay.
100%.
Fair enough.
No. It's the ones that can change colors to me. It's the ones that can go, that were super pro Alabama, Nick Saban. We love them. And then as soon as Big Nick leaves, they act like they're in turmoil and in trouble. I'm not sure about Kalen DeBoer and what is Alabama and all this type of stuff. And then we start moving in the right direction, Will, as Vols fans. And I'm speaking about the ones specifically in this state, as I get my whistles out right there, specifically in this state. Okay? You can't come back. We don't want you, okay? You rode the train of Alabama. Like, I saw so many new license plates and tags and stickers on cars around the state. And I know we're close to Alabama. You know what I'm saying? Location, logistically. But, like, those fans are the absolute worst. Man, that's some good people.
Interesting.
As a fan, you're the worst. As a person, you're a good person, okay?
Fair enough.
Is that okay to say?
Fair enough. I have not met many people who've switched allegiance between Alabama and Tennessee. I don't know the people you're talking about.
Because they blend in with us, Will. Soon as Big Nick leaves, you don't
Are
hear
you thinking
from
of specific people?
I got a few in mind.
Okay.
Not to be named.
I was going to say, because I don't think this is that big of a problem.
Snakes, yes, Jim freaking Nance. Snakes, man. I know people transplant and move around and stuff like that, but the fake Alabama fans that got the 20 teens championships on their cars, you went down with them in the early 2000s.
Yeah, right.
Tell me about the 90s, okay? They can't, Will. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man.
Alabama fans that were other fans.
So, all right, run through the 1 through 5 again for me.
1 through 5 again.
Bandwagon Bama fans are 1.
Bandwagon.
Let's go, ascending order.
Patriots 2.
Yep.
Phillies 3. Was it Cleveland 4 and Ohio State 5?
All right, that's craziest fan bases for the Foster 5 this morning.
I guess you can put them as fake Alabama fans.
Yeah, that's fair.
Front runners.
Post 2008 Alabama fans.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Real quick, my list. Top 5 craziest fan bases to deal with. These are all teams that I have interacted with personally. Some of these, like on social, I try not to use social media against people. On social media, Arkansas baseball fans are crazy. They are the worst. Social media is not real life. I'm not going to hold that against you, Arkansas fans. It's all good. It's all good. We're cool.
Right.
I really don't like a lot of your probably 15-year-old faceless Twitter accounts, but we're cool in person. I got no issue with Arkansas fans.
That's real.
Because I just don't know if you're real people. I think you're probably mostly middle schoolers that are hiding behind pictures of Dave Van Horn.
Yeah.
Number 5, Cincinnati Bengals on my list.
That's fair.
Of worst fans I've dealt with as a road fan. Number 4, Ohio State. So we've got some overlap there. Ohio State fans were awful. It probably didn't help that I sung Hail to the Victors at some of them as I walked into the Horseshoe this past December, but that was neither here nor there. Florida 3, going to the swamp. I was trash talked as like an 8-year-old at Florida of just like, you and your dad need to go home. As like a literally 8-year-old child, it's fine. I learned what it was like where it just means more growing up. The experience I had there 2 years ago being the rows right behind the Tennessee bench, right in front of the Florida students, put Florida on this list. It put Florida on this list. Absolutely put Florida on this list for me. And again, it's because of where the student section is in relation to where Tennessee fans are. So I don't know what I expected. No, honestly, I got what I expected. So it is what it is.
But that's insane telling an 8-year-old go back where you're from, though. I mean,
I was in the upper deck for that one, too. That was years ago. For the Hail Mary I was there for as a junior at Tennessee, people were videoing us as we walked out of the stadium. I almost slapped phones out of so many spoiled college kids' hands. Number 2, Philadelphia Eagles. I had an Eagles fan threaten to fight me in the parking lot here after the Titans walk-off win over them in overtime. Yeah. Corey Davis, walk-off win for Mariota. Very fun time. Running out of the stadium. I may have been singing a parody of Fly Eagles Fly that they didn't like, but
Cry Eagles Cry.
I probably deserved that one. More like Die Eagles Die. And then number 1, it is an untouchable spot on my list. It's Georgia. It's Georgia football fans.
That's real.
I had a buddy get spit on. I mentioned that story yesterday at the Juwan Jennings Hail Mary game. They will come up to you and bark at you. It is, that's what they sound like in my head. It's Georgia football fans. It's a special kind of hatred that Georgia fans have for everyone else not wearing red.
You've been consistent on that. That's one of your warnings you've given to me. Was like, I mentioned
and I have
something.
Family. My mom went to Georgia. Like, I have family at Georgia people that I love. And again, the bottom 10% ruins it for everyone else. Because there are a lot of great Georgia fans out there. But their crazies are the craziest of the SEC to me in terms of the way they hate other people and hate other fans. What are you looking at?
I'm looking at Nash is out in the hallway.
Really?
From Predators.
Nash. Yeah. Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah. What is that?
Nash want to come in and hang out?
He's a coyote?
No, he's a saber-toothed tiger.
Oh, I mean, it's time to put a tiger on the grill, baby.
Wow, that's crazy.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So that is my top 5.
There it is.
That is my top 5. I will give one local honorable mention.
I know it.
Local honorable mention. High school local honorable mention.
Oh.
MBA students were a little bit different.
You touched that.
Montgomery Bell Academy students were a little bit different.
You said it, not me.
Most obnoxious.
You said it, not me. You lived that life, though.
I did as an athlete. Never lost to them in the sports I did. It's neither here nor there. But it was a little bit different.
NBA's what?
Just a little bit different. All guys, Montgomery Bell Academy. It was just a little bit different.
You lived that one. All right, then. Well,
a little bit different.
That's fascinating, man. I thought you was going to say Vandy. You get a lot of Vandy hate on.
No, that's
unwarranted.
That doesn't bother me.
They seek you out.
Doesn't bother me. I compliment Vandy plenty too, but that same people don't see those things.
They turn the radio off when you.
They just make up family connections I have and say I got jobs I have because of nepotism because they think I'm related to the late president of UT.
Now I'm getting clown for calling Nash a coyote. That's crazy work by me.
Let's go to Tony in Alabama real quick. Hey, Tony.
What's up, Tony?
Tony, go ahead.
Tony.
I'm sitting here walking with my wife and listening to Ramon. I'm giving her the countdown. I'm like, hey, Ramon just said Cleveland. Ramon just said blah, blah, blah. I said, he's going to pick Alabama fans. Ramon, you had a chance of the top 5, and you go with a subset consisting of 3 fans that you met in Hendersonville somewhere.
Fair.
That's fair. Back in Bama. Gone back to UT. You could have said Alabama fans, and we've been good with it. We were like, yeah, that's expected. We hate UT fans. But you went with like some pure subset of people that you made up in your own mind.
No, it's not made up like
Thank you,
to
Tony.
me, Tony. It legitimately is, man. If you still listen, it legitimately is like seeing the license plate of the 2012 championship or the 14 if the numbers are right, if the years are right. And then I'm thinking to myself, you're probably about 24. You don't know the 90s. You don't know pre-Saban. And I hate the front runners. Oh, the Vol sucks, so let me jump on this Alabama fan base thing. Like, Tony, that's where I am with it.
I don't think there's as many people in that group as you think.
It's a bigger group. It is a bigger group.
If you know one of those people, then that's one too many.
What do they say? For the one that calls us, maybe it's 1,000 that want to. For the one that I see, it's 1,000,000 of them, Will.
Coming up, we're going to talk some Nashville Soccer Club. 12 games unbeaten. NSC is rolling. They take on DC United tomorrow. And coming up, Lori Lindsay will be on the call for Apple TV. She joins us next. Hey, it's Will Bowling. Are you headed to the beach or pool this summer? You're on that family vacation. I want to tell you about my friends at Brentwood Hearing Center who can make sure that you have got the best hearing device technology for you or for that family member that's maybe not hearing as well as they used to. That includes a water-resistant hearing aid that will help you on those vacation trips, in the pool, in the ocean. Maybe you're just outside. You're in crowded restaurants. You're at a wedding season in full swing. You're just finding it difficult to hear the person you're trying to have a conversation with because you're hearing the music, you're hearing the people behind you. You're hearing everything except for what you want to hear. Brentwood Hearing Center can take care of you. Give them a call, 615-377-0420. You can visit them online at BrentwoodHearingCenter.com. Learn more about how they can tailor a hearing solution to meet your individual hearing care needs. Online at BrentwoodHearingCenter.com. That's Brentwood Hearing Center. Better hearing, better life. Ramon and Will on 104.5 The Zone is fueled by Scooters Coffee, locally owned in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Alongside 11-year NFL veteran Ramon Foster, I am Will Bowling. Pleased to be joined this morning by Lori Lindsay of MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. She'll be on the call for Nashville SC and DC United tomorrow from the nation's capital. Good morning, Lori. How are you?
Yeah, hi, Will. Good to be chatting with you. How you doing?
Great. Appreciate you taking the time this morning and talking about the hottest team in MLS right now, coming off a big win against New England in the midweek. Lori, just what impresses you the most about this Nashville team at the moment?
Yeah, I think mostly what it is that there's just everybody's performing at such a high level, so you really get the sense of the cohesion. There's a fluidity in the attack, but I think you can't really talk about this Nashville team without obviously talking about the obvious of Surge and Mukhtar and their partnership that they developed, but also just the form that they're in, playing off one another, scoring goals is a clear one. But it looks like everybody's having fun, and that can't be understated.
No doubt about it. Fans in that conversation as well having a lot of fun watching it. You mentioned Sam Surridge and the 15 goals he has already. Just how unique is his skill set to you? Sometimes these big English forwards kind of get typecast as a certain type of player, but talking with BJ Callahan this season doing the games on the radio, he tells us a lot about how there's more to Sam maybe than meets the eye. What is the biggest difference that you're seeing in his play this year versus last season?
Yeah, I think, I completely agree with BJ in terms of there's more to Sam Surridge than actually what you see. And I like what you say in terms of an English player being typecast, because to me, Sam Surridge isn't just like a traditional number 9. He has the ability to float around. He wants to pick up the ball in different areas. And same with Mukhtar as well, Hani Mukhtar. So you'll see both of these players, in my opinion, cause backlines a lot more trouble than you typically would with a true number 9, because they don't just stay put. And I think that's what Sam Surridge brings, and that's what we've seen under BJ more often, which is just a player that's going to make little darting runs. Yes, he can get on the set pieces with his height, his ability in the air, but to be able to play off of a striker, not just be a hold-up player, you typically see with a guy his size. I think that's what's setting him apart, but that's also like the evolution that we've seen and the tools that he has that we necessarily didn't see last year that we're seeing much more this season.
Lori Lindsay of MLS Season Pass on Apple TV, our guest on the call for Nashville SC and DC United tomorrow. Lori, we try to bridge the gap on this show and on our station of maybe the diehard Nashville fan and maybe people that are just getting into soccer and MLS. Maybe for the people that are kind of just learning about this team or just tuning in as they've been so good. How big of a shift has this team made overnight from last season to this year under BJ Callahan? And just how challenging is it, the evolution they've had in such a short amount of time to be so offensive-minded and so fun to watch offensively this season?
Yeah, huge change, right? I mean, like you and I both know. And I think in the past it's been more defensive-oriented, and rightfully so when you come in as an expansion team a number of years ago now. But or the COVID year, you essentially want to lock things down. I like that idea of building a team around your back line and defensively. But then it kind of felt like that's where they just stayed. They were more of just a defensive team that was going to always just try to counterattack. And to make that change under BJ Callahan in such a short amount of time, to now have much more possession, but also just the threats that I have up top. And we've already mentioned Hani Mukhtar and Surge and their partnership. But I also think you have to look at where the width is coming from. And that's coming from the left back of Lovitz and the right back of Nahar. So it's not easy to make that change, but now you're seeing a lot of numbers centrally because they do play a narrow shape, but then the width in a formation coming from your outside backs. But what that does is just allow those two players who do want to get up and down the field to be able to join into the attack as well. And then there's more, not only fluidity, but there's more unpredictability. And it's not just coming from your two front runners where that's typically what it's been in the past. So, or lonely just like as the lone striker of Hani Mukhtar being the one that's getting into the counterattacking position. So now you have much more players, to my point, getting into the attack. But to make that change is not easy. But when you look at this roster and you look at the players on this team, they've always had that capability. It just wasn't being drawn out of them.
We're joined by Apple TV's Lori Lindsay today, talking a little Nashville SC. Lori, how big of a contender is Nashville SC in the Eastern Conference, like to battle for the top spot this year?
Oh, yeah, massive. I mean, it's them and Philadelphia, and I think I should know this offhand, but I think they play either Philadelphia next or within the next couple of games.
Next Saturday, yep.
Yeah, exactly. Just battling one another. And to be honest, in my opinion, these have been the two most surprising teams in the East because I live in Philadelphia. I've covered that team a ton as well. And, there's a lot of question marks coming in on what they were going to look like. Would they be able to sustain this form throughout the season? Well, those, for the most part, have definitely been answered for Philadelphia. And the same with this season with Nashville. Just like, what is this team going to look like under B.J. Callahan? How are they going to score goals? Who's going to provide them consistently outside Hani Mukhtar? So I think these have been the two best teams throughout, and that the records show that. And then also major contenders just to keep pushing the second part of the season.
Laura, you know ball. You've been around it. You understand it. You played it. You're accomplishing it. So you know what the season's supposed to look like. As far as Nashville SC, where can this team take the next step and just actually continue to prove in the era that they're in right now?
Yeah, mostly it's just, I would say, is stay healthy and stay consistent with what you're doing. I mean, that is always a challenge for a lot of teams. And Nashville's opponent this weekend, case in point, have had a ton of injuries. They haven't had consistency, and their record shows that. And that's no secret to Troy Lesane and his team. But so I would say that first and foremost. And then I would just say, can you get more players scoring goals? Because at some point in time, teams are going to try to just lock down Surridge and Hani Mukhtar. It doesn't mean that they're going to be successful. But any time that you can have multiple players always getting on the score sheet and creating more chances, the better. So healthy, and then continue to find ways that you can create and get more people finding the back of the net for you.
Lori Lindsay of MLS Season Pass on Apple TV, our guest talking Nashville Soccer Club. Lori, from the opponent's perspective in D.C., who you mentioned, with Troy Lesane and that Red Bull system and mentality for this team that's had so many injuries, where can D.C. hurt Nashville tomorrow as a side that is desperate for points at this point of the season and will be going for the win as well?
I think anytime attacking transition comes into play for DC United, if they can finish their chances, and again, that is an if, because that has been one of their main inconsistencies in the final third, is not finishing those types of plays, but they are dangerous. And then if Benteke is back, then there's always a question mark on how do you deal with him, particularly in the air, but also just his ability to link up play, which I don't know if he gets enough credit for. But those are the two areas, attacking transition and dealing with Benteke if he's back in the amount of minutes he's playing. And then the only other thing I would highlight, too, is if they do take away any sort of space in behind for Nashville, it's going to be about, and they get really compact defensively, DC United, then it's just going to be about patience for Nashville and not getting ahead of themselves and trying to force it too much.
Lori, last one for you. I know you've spent a lot of time around this team and watching this team from the early days and broadcasting in this league, but watching Hani Mukhtar from day one to now, it is so cool watching him as just a Nashville sports figure become just kind of an icon in this city, right? What impresses you the most just about his development from the human, the player, the person you saw get here in 2020 to now, and just the strides that he's taken on and off the field?
Yeah, I would say there's a couple of things. I mean, one, I've used the word consistency a lot in the call. But, to be able to perform like he does in that role as a striker, that's so challenging in this league because it just and also just in sport in general, to play at the top of your game, but do it consistently, and he's done that throughout. And now, even if there's been a little bit of dips in performances, it's not, so severe. He's always been the go-to guy on this team. And also we're seeing that this year. But I think the biggest thing, there always seems to be a smile on his face. He generally seems like he's enjoying himself. And obviously when things are going well and your team's top of one of the top couple teams in the East and in the league, then you're always going to have a smile on your face. But he seems to continuously just really be enjoying himself, enjoying Nashville and the team. And I think those two things that are always something that I end up having a smile on my face about, because that's, the stakes are high and there's a lot of pressure, and that's not always easy to do.
Lori Lindsay has been our guest this morning on Ramon and Will on the Call for Nashville SC and DC United. You can watch on Apple TV MLS Season Pass as Nashville looks to stay unbeaten in 13 tomorrow at Audi Field. Lori, really appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
Definitely. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Enjoy your weekend.
Absolutely. You as well. There's Lori Lindsay. with us this morning. Nashville SC right here on the Zone, 6 o'clock pregame, 6:30 coverage. Eddie Carvaggio and I will have the call for you right here on the station.
I personally don't know Lori, but listen to her walk, breathe, and talk. She definitely seems cool as hell.
Impressive.
Oh, I'm talking about cool.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
She does a great job.
I don't know if she's just left the pitch or just finished a workout or just simply walking downtown somewhere, but she crushed that one. I'll be honest with you. Her breathing, was legit is what I'm telling you.
It's cool. That is a tradition in soccer.
Yeah, what's that?
Going on a team walk in the morning of a game.
Yeah.
Every country, every league. When I went to London, Arsenal does it. Here, Nashville SC does it. Where you literally everybody has their cup of coffee or their water or whatever the tea or the water or whatever, and the whole team goes for a walk around the block, just as a way to start the morning.
First time I ever did that was with Coach Foreman, my freshman year. We left at Crown Plaza. Everybody's downstairs at a set time. And we literally went out the front door, walked around the hotel, went back in for morning meetings before the games and stuff.
Nice.
You don't think about that type of stuff, but it's actually a good way to just get you up, get you focused in on what the day's task is, man, and honestly just set you up to get going. That's the other part. Guys will lay around and get dormant, and next thing you know, they're sluggish at the end of the day. So I actually like that. I think more teams should probably activate their guys with a little small, subtle walk. We did it once. And once or twice in Pittsburgh. But for the most part, when you got night games is when you do it. And we just get guys up and do walkthroughs. We did 2 or 3 walkthroughs before the 8 o'clock kickoffs and stuff.
Nashville SC in a 12-game unbeaten run, 27 goals scored in the last 12 games, Ramon Foster. That is the most in Nashville's history in a 12-game stretch. Nashville has 13 games this year where they've scored multiple times. And Sam Surridge is an MVP candidate at this point. 15 goals scored already this season. And Hani Mukhtar, when he won MVP in 2022, did not score his 15th goal until August 21st. Wow. And that was Hani's MVP season.
Wow.
Sam Surridge has 15 goals as of June 24th.
Let's get into it, Will.
It's fantastic.
Should Hani be more, and he probably is, it's just my world that I'm in, more of a star here in the city?
I think he's become a pretty big one, to be honest with you.
More now.
I think there are people, and I talk to people all the time, and I see a lot of Hani Mukhtar jerseys around Nashville.
Okay.
Which I think is cool. But I think secondly, too, people that maybe have been to only one soccer game know Hani Mukhtar. Or people that since the stadium opened, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
If you aren't in the weeds about Nashville SC, Hani Mukhtar is kind of the headliner, right? You know who Hani is. Hani has become a staple of the city as the face of soccer in Nashville. And he will always have that legacy. In 20 years, when we talk about Nashville Soccer Club, we'll talk about how Hani Mukhtar helped get the ball rolling and helped make soccer cool in Nashville.
I don't want to interview you on our job where we talk about sports, but I do want to ask you stuff about soccer because you're informed on it. So I'll go ahead and start my questions. I'm working too. Okay.
Let's go. Give me your words.
With that being said, though, what's the goal vision for MLS? You know what I'm saying?
It's a great question.
I remember when it first came in.
Yeah, for sure.
And you had certain stars show up. And now it's at a level of sustainability for sure. Pockets of cities have they have their fan base. They have their traditions.
I feel like it's the fastest growing league in the country.
Geodis. We can just leave it at that. Look
think
at the palace that is.
And I think that is where you kind of hit the ground running in my answer to that in terms of what the goal of MLS is and how they've achieved what they've achieved. The soccer-specific stadium push in this country has grown the game in a significant way. Think about the amount of people listening to us right now who probably checked out Nashville SC for the first time once Geodis Park opened. It literally, me. Because you probably didn't go at Nissan Stadium.
No.
But the character of a club is built in the building. And the character of Nashville SC, the vibe of the entire team in general, is in Geodis Park. Yeah. And it encourages you as a sports fan in a city to say, this new stadium looks cool. Let's go check out a game sometime. Yeah. And the experience is so good and the team has been so good through Nashville SC's history that you want to go back. Very few people probably have just gone once and never gone back again once you buy that ticket and go with friends and check it out. So I think that's first and foremost. It's growing the game of soccer by creating soccer-specific venues that allow you to host a U.S. men's national team game or U.S. women's national team game. Laurie knows that as well as anybody, as someone who played for the United States. that is where the game is growing. I think for MLS, the goal is twofold. A, for the American sports fan, how do we grow into a more relevant place to compete with the NHL, to compete with Major League Baseball, to compete with the NBA? Because you're never going to touch the NFL.
Right.
So how do you become a secondary rooting interest behind people's football teams? I think that's first and foremost in this country. Secondly, I think for MLS beyond the U.S., it's how do you be the best league on the continent? Liga MX, the Mexican league, is very, very good. Pachuca from Mexican league was in Geodes Park last night playing Al Hilal from Saudi Arabia. I was out at Geodes Park last night watching it. It's being able to be outside the top 4 leagues in the world, which is Spain, Germany, Italy, England, France, top 5 leagues in the world.
Yeah.
I think MLS would aspire long term to be one of the 6th or 7th best leagues in the entire world. Can you be the top thing beyond the big 5 in Europe? I think is a goal for American soccer. So.
And I was looking it up too
Long
as you was
answer,
talking.
sorry,
I was listening. No, that was perfect because it's 16 teams I think that have their dedicated soccer stadiums, if I'm not mistaken, in the MLS. If this list is correct, now this is also Google AI generated, so it's probably off, but I think it's 16 and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 shared stadiums from what I can see.
Yeah, and there are some that are specific to owners being the same as the NFL team. Like Carolina, the Teppers own Charlotte FC and the Carolina Panthers.
Yep.
So they can share the Charlotte Stadium.
Atlanta
United, Arthur Blank.
Yes.
Same group. Can share Mercedes-Benz Stadium and things like that. So
there's a lot of to be made about you saying traditions and growth happen in the place that they are played at. Because we're talking about now, of course, I'm not transitioning out of to go to football, but there's so much talk about new Nissan. There's so much talk about what Bridgestone is to the Predators, right? Or what Neyland is to the Vols, or et cetera, Death Valley in LSU. So that is a strong stance on it. You mentioned the MX League, right? Is that the correct?
Liga MX, yeah.
Liga MX. How big of how long of a jump do they have as Liga MX over MLS too? Was it started at the same time, or they had decades on them?
No, I mean it's been longer. It's definitely been a lot longer.
Yeah.
And Liga MX and the roster building rules allow them to spend more money on the entire depth of their rosters. MLS is more of a salary cap league versus most other leagues in the world.
Yeah.
There are restrictions around getting players and as we say, buying or selling players on the transfer market. However, I mean, salary caps are an American idea.
Yeah.
Salary caps is not something we get around the world.
Right.
So in Mexico, they can have, so in MLS, you can get 3 designated players that don't count against their salary cap.
Yeah.
Mexico can have a team full of designated players if they wanted to, if they just wanted to spend $100 million. So that's where the depth of it is a challenge. But if you want competitiveness, if you want parity, which this league has, where you can go from being outside the playoffs to 3rd in the East the next year, having a cap that keeps everybody kind of bunched up within the same spending bracket relatively allows parity and gets more fans into the sport as well, because everyone can be relevant any given year. So
no doubt.
615-737-1045 as we wrap up the show. Thank you for entertaining my soccer discussions
You
this
mentioned
morning.
no salary cap real quick, though, before you went there. Cristiano Ronaldo, I think that's how you say his name.
Oh, have you seen what he's getting from his Saudi Arabian club?
I'm afraid to say it out loud.
It's legit. It's totally legit.
I'm afraid to say this
Cristiano
number.
Ronaldo's new contract is £178 million a year. £178 million pounds a year.
In American dollars?
How much?
$245 million a year.
Yeah, $240 million a year. He gets a 15% ownership stake in his club, £4 million worth of private jet expenses, 16 people working full time for him. Yeah, it's a different world.
Can I ask you this? Is he him or Messi?
Messi. In terms of best player?
Yeah.
Messi.
Why does he's willing to entertain it?
Because he's the second best player of all time.
Oh, I don't even want to talk about Messi's then.
Oh, yeah, no. Well, Messi, yeah, they've moved heaven and earth to get him here, too.
Okay.
Coming up, there is some rumblings about some big Tennessee recruiting news that may be on the horizon. We'll tell you the rumor that is circulating based on what I'm reading between the lines from someone at On3 who just sent out a very interesting tweet about Tennessee football. We'll do that next. Ramon and Will on 104.5 The Zone is fueled by Scooter's Coffee. Hayes Fawcett at On 3. Ramon Foster is getting the people going this morning.
Hayes getting his graphic ready?
He is appearing to get a graphic ready. So Hayes Fawcett, if you're unfamiliar, works for On 3 and is the graphic guy. When people want to commit, he makes them a graphic, and sometimes he puts out a GIF of a head coach of said team that's about to get a commitment with eye emojis. Well, he has done that for Tennessee, and he has done that with 5 orange emojis. Mm-hmm. In fact, to be specific, he says orange times 5 with a GIF of Josh Heupel smoking a cigar. Ramon, I have a 50-50 shot here.
I throw 33% in it.
Interesting. I was going to say the 50-50 shot is I think Tennessee may get some good news from Tristan Keys, the 5-star wide receiver committed to LSU, or Savion Hyder, the 5-star running back, who's between Tennessee or Michigan. Are you throwing Darius Gray in there too?
Yeah.
There's 3 5-stars Tennessee is in contention for, those 3 guys. So if that's what Hayes Fawcett's tweet means, just reading between the lines, Tennessee might be getting good news later today.
And it's also foreshadowed, too, by Brent Hubbs.
In the War Room.
In the War Room.
You can go check that out at volquest.com. There is a nugget in there about Tristan Keys that you might like, and something we've talked about with Austin. We've talked with Austin Price about Tristan Keys on Tuesday, and Tennessee appears to be in a really good spot. And I think at a camp this week, Tristan Keys may have opened the door towards looking elsewhere.
Yeah.
5-star wide receiver. For those unfamiliar, Tristan Keys is the number 1 receiver in the country. A commitment in June doesn't mean he's going to commit in or sign in December, especially when guys are flipping as often as they do. But would be a big deal for Tennessee at this point.
It's 2 things that's going on here. One, I would say this: if they can pull this off and keep them, there's a side of Heupel and recruiting and his staff being legit in that aspect.
A side of that we've not seen consistently enough.
I'll say this: for the last 2 or 3 coaches have been at UT, you hadn't seen this level. The last 3-4 years has been a 5-star or 2 that signed. Because we can't forget Jordan Ross. It turned into a 5-star also.
As an edge rusher late in the process, 100% right.
And talking to LSU folks, my doctor is a LSU guy, and they're worried about Brian Kelly. If this flip happens, you got the quarterback from last year. Now, I know Michigan paid heavy for him.
Bryce Underwood.
And if Tristan Keys even entertains flipping after being close to, where is he originally from? Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Yeah.
From Hattiesburg, Mississippi. And he flips to the Vols. Brian Kelly, we got to figure it out.
They spent a lot of money in the transfer portal, LSU. They had an influx of NIL dollars coming to their program after they lost Bryce Underwood to Michigan. But at the end of the day, the relationship part of it still matters. And Tristan Keys is on the record saying, too, that the, money is not going to be the end-all, be-all. He wants to go to the place he feels like he can be developed the best, and money is a part of the equation.
It's going to be huge for the wide receivers coach, too. That's going to be huge being a young guy. Kelsey Pope. Name had escaped me right there. So is that part of, so if Tristan Keys does commit, you know what what recruiting is, though, too? I want to do what he did.
Yeah.
So the conversation, I think, grows just a little bit stronger for Hyder. And I also think Darius Gray, too. Like, in late June and also July is commitment time for most.
It is. You want to commit before your senior season.
Then the other part is they can start collecting.
That's right. That's right. Potentially significant for Tennessee if they're able to pull it off, especially considering how much the wide receiver position was a topic of conversation this offseason. Like, Tennessee doesn't have enough at wide receiver. With Tristan Keys, they would have a legitimate number 1.
We're Rodarius, too?
You're talking about a guy that's ranked the same level as what Ryan Williams was coming out of high school for Alabama. Josh Pate of Josh Pate's College Football Show and 247 Sports yesterday commenting on toughest places to play in college football. Ramon, he shares our sentiment that EA Sports College Football has gotten it wrong, saying Neyland Stadium is the 12th toughest place to play in college football. This was Josh Pate on his show last night. Great stuff here.
I got all the respect in the world for the folks at EA. To have Tennessee outside the top 10 of toughest places to play in college football is evidence of drug use. Not only is Tennessee top 10, Neyland Stadium's the toughest place to play in college football. don't start with me. You can go argue with this wall over here. I've been there for the best of it. This right here is not footage that we ripped from a network. That is straight from the eye, Josh. I shot this myself. I've been there. I've been a part of it. Deafening. And also, there is the psychological factor of the fact that Rocky Top's the most annoying sound in the world to anyone who's not a Tennessee fan. So you practice with it all week, blaring on the loudspeakers, and everyone's drilling it into your head. You got to go beat Tennessee, or this is what you're going to hear. And it's great if you go beat them and shut them up. But if you don't, do you know what it's like to be trailing Tennessee? Tennessee takes the lead on you in the fourth quarter, and they're just blaring Rocky Top. You got 100,000+ people singing it at the top of their lungs. Psychologically, it does something to you because you convinced yourself all week, we ain't letting that happen. And then it starts to happen. I've never been in an avalanche before, but I imagine Tennessee taking the lead on you in the fourth quarter and Rocky Top blaring during one of the 9-minute commercial breaks you're going to take, depending on the network. That's what an avalanche of orange feels like. Bill Martin, avalanche of orange. Get the marketing ready. Get the promotion machine ready. So I not only do I have them top 10, not only do I have them top 5, I got Tennessee as the number 1 toughest place to play in college football.
I love that from Josh. Josh Payne's College Football Show, a must listen if you love the sport.
You know how many guys that I've played with or against that have said that same sentiment? As far
how much
as
they hate Rocky Top?
Hate Rocky Top. The way the coaches blare it. Like, Hawk, if you got it ready, just the first strike of the horns, dun, dun, oh, my gosh.
Look at you directing the band.
Yes, man, like that part right there is the worst part to them. And it was I think it was Vol Shop on Twitter also that was saying, when did the woo get dropped into it?
Oh yeah.
I honestly think it was the opposing teams that started it. Like legit.
No, it was
you start hearing it so much, woo, like they hate it. Like they used to tell me what Spurrier and Urban Meyer used to do to the T decals. Like they used to put them in the urinal and they would blare and blast the song so much you had to grow up hating it.
Yeah. It's Josh is fighting the good fight. Just because Tennessee's been blown out in Neyland Stadium the last 10 years does not mean that Tennessee is not a tough place to play.
Right.
It means that, as he told somebody, Georgia would beat you at a parking lot some years. Doesn't matter where you're playing Georgia. They're sometimes just better. And that is not the fault of the 102,000 in the stands, that's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. We had a random Vandy fan hop in our chat real quick, and we were going back and forth on, he said, still anchored down. I was like, that's y'all problem. Y'all need to pull that anchor up and start moving forward. He replies back and said, 30 years of cheering for a losing program hasn't broken me yet. I'm going to lean in on any positivity I can. I love that for you. Mm-hmm. I love that for you.
What's the Jack Sparrow quote? Lonzo writes in, our resident Mississippi State fan. Says, he's speaking facts. It's one of the most annoying songs. Ah, yes, but you have heard of it. You have heard it. I couldn't tell you what the Mississippi State fight song is.
That's too real.
Couldn't sing you 3 bars, the Mississippi State fight song. A, because they don't score. And B, because it's not important enough for me to know it.
Violence, Will.
It's the Jack Sparrow. Ah, yes, but you have heard of me.
Yeah.
You have heard of our songs.
That's what I'm talking about, man. That, what Pate said, is how most people feel. They absolutely hate that song. I can't think of another. I can't think of another SEC song chant tradition that you don't. No, I mean we've pretty much taken
in terms of songs and like fight songs. No, I mean Rammer Jammer is pretty well known for Alabama.
Yeah.
Bada Getta that Dawn has done for Auburn.
War Eagle
That's not well
gets
known.
kind
It's just
of
fun.
Hotty Toddy.
The iconic fight songs in college football. Maybe that's a Ramona Will draft. Of best songs in sports in general.
I had a buddy of mine.
It's Michigan, Notre Dame, and Tennessee are the 3 like iconic fight songs in college sports.
I didn't know Notre Dame's off top, and my homeboy was like, you need to go listen. When I heard it, yes. Yep.
And then Michigan is hail to the victors, hail to the victors.
doesn't do it for me.
Go Blue. Yeah.
No, that one doesn't do it for me.
Bert, what's the ECU fight song? Can you sing it for us?
Yeah. Cheers for East Carolina. Cheers for the old EC. on AC. Cheers for East Carolina. We're the purple and gold. We are the Pirates of ECU. Hey.
All right, there we go.
Hey, my boy!
Bert had literally walked in the studio for 0.1 seconds.
Hey, by the way, real quick,
iconic
you
fight
never
songs.
trashed Coastal Carolina last week. Are you happy, pleased, or sad for the state?
I am upset for them. I feel like they got a short end of the stick.
Fair enough.
You do.
Fair enough. That is the show, and that is our week. Ramon, I will see you in a week and a half.
Oh, yeah.
Off all next week.
Off all next week,
Rhett
man.
Bryan with me Monday, Zach Lyons Tuesday, Rhett with me Wednesday. We are off Thursday and Friday next week. Short week, 4th of July week. Lots to still discuss. We'll be back at it Monday morning.
Absolutely, man. Nash is right outside. I'm probably going to have to strip him down and get some of his DNA so I can make my own saber-tooth tiger, okay? But with that being said, good people, have a blast this weekend. Celebrate the 4th safely. No fingers lost, okay? Don't shoot at anybody with the fireworks, too. But at all costs, man, call somebody you ain't talked to in a while. Buy somebody a random drink. Have a good time. Everybody love everybody. But at all times, your Twitter fingers in your mic, always hot.